92% of households that start the year with Peloton are still active a year later.
92% because of a bike?
Not just bikes. We also make treadmills and rowers.
Oh, let me guess, for elite athletes only, right?
Nope. It doesn't matter if you're an avid exerciser or new to working out. Peloton can help you achieve your fitness goals. 92% stick with it. So can you. Try Peloton bikes, tread, or row risk-free with a 30-day home trial. New members only. Not available in remote locations. See additional terms at onepeloton.com/home-trial.
New customers, download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code DEFEND to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place a $5 bet on anything. That's code DEFEND. Only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over and physically present in Ohio. Valid one offer per first-time depositors who have not already redeemed $200 in free bets via pre-launch offer. Minimum $5 deposit and wager. $200 issued as bonus bets. Eligibility restrictions apply. See dkng.co/OH for terms.
Welcome to Cryptids of the Corn. Each week, Justin and Jay take a look at a topic in the crypto and paranormal world. They focus on the Midwest and Appalachia of the U.S., but sometimes they venture out with everything from well-known monster sightings to one-off cryptids, live person interviews to actual fieldwork sneaking in some science lessons. There's sure to be something you'll enjoy. Please join us this episode of Cryptids of the Corn.
And we are back. I'm the famous Mr. E.
I'm still just first season J.
First season J. When we start second season, you will have a specific
nickname. Hopefully by then.
And welcome to installment number 6 of the Mothman.
Is this 6 or 8 or 12 or?
I think this is installment 6. I don't know how the episodes are going to come out or anything like that yet because we're not done recording them. But we have 6 pieces of this episode. So far, well, this will be number 6.
Yes,
I think we'll end with 6 or 7. We'll see how long this goes. So, just to recap, we've covered, because this is the next day for us recording.
True.
We've covered general history of Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Yep.
We did the Scarberries and Mallets report.
Check.
We did other famous sightings.
Check.
Then we did little known sightings.
Mm-hmm.
Then we did almost unheard sightings.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So that's the 3 spots. Then we did the bridge.
Yep.
And then last episode, we did a whole bunch of the woo.
The woo and Indrid Cold.
Poltergeist, UFOs, Indrid Cold, Men in Black.
Men in Black, yep.
And now we're getting into, well, just, I guess, more about Mothman.
Yeah.
So we ended last episode, I don't know if you remember, because it was yesterday, on a very somber note.
Yes.
Yeah, we were talking about the realities of the world. It just was so weird of how it happened at this point. But now we're going to get into a lot more lighthearted stuff. So we're going to talk about, where did the Mothman go after Point Pleasant?
Interesting. Do you know?
Kinda.
Okay.
But yeah, the Mothman traveled a little north and then way west and went and started inhabiting the Great Lakes. Specifically, like from 2017 to this year.
So to still this year or? Mm-hmm. Oh, nice. Okay.
So we're going to skim over this section a little bit. We're not going to go into super detail, but just we'll go into it. Yeah, we're going to get into it. But America's Scaryland, our good buddies,
Nick and Jake.
Yep, Nick and Jake. They just did an episode on
Great Lakes Mothman.
Great Lakes Mothman. Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're still waking up.
I know.
But yeah, so they just did the episode on that. So go over there and listen to that. I got a couple encounters that I don't think they put, so I'm trying not to do the same ones.
Okay.
But yeah, so between 2017 and 2019 have produced more Mothman-type sightings than any other time since the infamous Mothman incidents of Point Pleasant, West Virginia that occurred in the late 1960s. Sightings began around the Great Lakes, Michigan shoreline and around Chicago. The latest area where the winged man-like creature has been sighted is, interestingly, the beeline between the Lake Michigan and the Ohio River Valley and in east central Indiana. So it's like this big line that goes right to bum, bum, bum.
To what?
Bum, bum, bum. You're supposed to guess.
Oh, Point Pleasant?
From to where?
To Chicago is what it sounds like.
Yeah, specifically where?
Lake Michigan.
specifically?
Um,
O'Hare Airport.
oh, O'Hare International Airport.
Mm-hmm.
Been there before.
Have you?
Yeah, I have.
That's where I got sick.
What do you mean sick?
When I got my worms.
You got worms?
Yeah, remember when I had the lung worms I had to take the horse medicine
Oh,
for?
that's right.
I got sick there.
Horse medicine? What are you talking about? That don't work.
Oh, for worms it does.
Oh, okay.
It's a horse dewormer. Just
Well.
don't take the horse dose.
Right, yeah, I know. You know that was, I'm assuming we're talking about the same medicine, right? The one that shall not be named?
Yeah, you shouldn't say it because of the other stuff, which I didn't know about when I took it.
Yeah.
I didn't know that people were claiming anything else with it. My doctor said that it's the same stuff I was going to buy for deworming a human. It's the dewormer for mammals.
Yeah, exactly. It was a patented Nobel-winning prize. Was it Nobel Prize or was it? It was award-winning. I can't remember. The guy that came up with it won like a Nobel Prize or something for that medicine for humans, and then it was tested, and then it was used for animals after the fact.
I was going to say, yeah, it's widely used in like Vietnam and stuff like that because that's where the worms I got were from.
Oh, jeez. You got a Vietnamese worm?
And lungworm.
Oh, that's scary.
Eat my lungs. They tried. I won.
But yeah, I've been there. I've been to O'Hare. They tried. I won. I've been to O'Hare a couple times.
Yeah, we're going to talk a little bit more about O'Hare specifically after this.
Okay.
Of why is the Mothman hanging around here?
I had a friend tell me a weird story once about that place.
Oh, yeah, Jimmy Woo.
Yep.
Man, I can feel the headache.
He's a wild and crazy guy.
So we're going to talk about an incident that was recounted, reportedly took place on Thursday, August 8th, 2019 at approximately 6 p.m.
Okay.
I was actually in Chicago on this date.
No way.
I might have been in O'Hare area at this date doing surveys.
Did you plant this, whatever happened?
No,
Just
but
so you could
I got
record it?
stories about Chicago and stuff like that with O'Hare.
Okay.
And the Mothman.
Okay.
All right, so according to the man's report, I had flown into O'Hare the previous day and had stayed in a hotel for the night. I was due to fly out at 10 p.m. to the UK. I was taking the airport shuttle towards the terminal, and I looked up out the window. I saw a large human with enormous wings and glowing red eyes perched up on the rail, looking straight at me. The being appeared to be squatting down on the rail, but it had its wings completely open and moved them very slowly as it stared at the shuttle bus and as we drove by. I knew it was watching me, and its head swiveled and followed the shuttle as we passed. Its eyes locked on me the entire time. I was startled, and I admit it, I was very, very frightened, not only by this encounter, but by the absolute boldness of the thing. It did not move. It did not attempt to hide itself when we approached. Knowing that it could be clearly seen. Turning the page. We passed the outside lane and we went to the closest the closest we got approximately was 15 feet away from where it was perched. It never once flinched or attempted to hide itself. It just stayed there perched as we passed. When we passed, I attempted to look back to see if it was still perched there. I saw nothing, and I could only assume that it must have flown off when we passed.
Interesting.
And he goes on a little bit more. Basically, he says he actually got to meet the pilot and talk to the pilot, and the pilot had seen it several times.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And a lot of the staff at the O'Hare kind of have the same consensus.
They've seen it.
Yeah.
And it just happens to be there.
It got kind of, they're not bored with it like we were talking about with Point Pleasant UFOs.
Yeah.
But it's becoming a staple where they're like, it's not doing anything.
It's just there.
So it's more like a stray animal now than a danger.
Okay.
Because it's been there for years at this point, a couple years.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, so his story is really long, but basically he goes on to just, he goes on to talk about he kept talking to people. Now he got really interested in it and was talking to everybody at the bar about it, and he just found more and more people were seeing it, and it's been seen all over the Great Lakes region, but there's something drawing it to O'Hare International Airport.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Or else, I mean, why else would it be that just hanging out there, you know?
So, yeah, that's all I got because like I said, if you want more sightings, Nick and Jake do a great job of covering them. Go over to their show.
America's Scary Land.
America's Scary Land. America's Dairyland. They have less mounds than Ohio.
That's true. And they're less significant as well.
I'm so mad at them. Okay. But yeah, so why is O'Hare important? Why is it significant? Why is the Mothman now hanging out?
Well, it's a lot different than Point Pleasant. Point Pleasant was like a small town, you know?
Yeah, so there's a lot of differences in Point Pleasant, but there's a lot of similarities.
Okay, so I'm guessing there could be like some sort of power plant maybe there that's similar to O'Hare.
And there's to
Point Pleasant.
Yes, there is. There's several power producing facilities.
Okay, there's water.
Government personnel there.
There's a big Chicago. There's the river that runs through Chicago. I mean,
there's
Ohio
like
River.
six. There's like 6 rivers in Chicago. Big rivers.
So we got water source.
A hadron collider.
Wow, allegedly.
Oh no, it's there.
How do you know?
You can look on the map and see it.
Oh, okay, really?
It says hadron collider on it.
No way. It really does?
It's whatever gravitational anomaly labs or something like that.
No way. So that's like documented.
Yeah, you can see it from the road.
Wow. So we got a hadron collider here. It can't be the one as big as there is over in.
No, it's
Europe.
not. It's not that big.
So it's just a smaller version.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them in the U.S. that are smaller.
Well, that's strange.
Well, a whole bunch of them. There's probably a dozen.
Wow. I still don't know what they're used for.
Accelerating particles.
Yeah, to do what?
Well, depends on what's testing. I know some of them are using them to like test new energy sources.
Yeah.
Like free radicals and stuff. They're coming off the particles when they hit super speeds. That's it. I don't know what that means after that. I can recite it.
Exactly. Or I've also heard like, they're slamming together to see what happened, to see how the Big Bang formed.
There's that. I think that's what the big one's used for.
But even then, what?
So last year they got a particle in the one in Europe to go faster than the speed of light. And they still haven't explained it. They've done it twice on accident. So they're thinking that it's teleporting.
Quantum entanglement.
They're thinking that it's teleporting. That's actually not, because as far as we know, that's the end-all speed.
Right, speed of light.
So to be faster, it's just because you're skipping space, not going through it.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's like a wormhole.
Yeah, basically, yeah. You're just moving the endpoints to closer.
Right, yeah.
So you're not going faster than the speed of light, but you're still getting there quicker than light going the full distance can go.
Right, you're skipping the distance.
Yeah, and they've done it twice on accident, and they still don't know why. It's like what causes it or nothing like that.
Interesting. So we got, I don't know, we don't know if anything like that was at Point Pleasant underneath anything.
Don't say nothing.
Okay, but I'm just saying. Like, don't say nothing. But I mean, if that's a similarity, there's definitely, we can at least say there was high energy
There's that.
experimentation.
But I don't think that's what the Mothman's there for. I just brought it up because I like talking about it. But I think, so I'll tell you from personal experience, I can talk about this. O'Hare International Airport has signal jamming radar.
Okay. Your
cell phones don't work by them. We only knew about it because our GPSs didn't work, and that's how we used to find our sites.
Okay.
And we're like, well, why, we can't find it. So we just, it was hard to do. We had to do it old school.
Get a map out and, hey, we got to go to this stream, follow this one.
Looking for stupid trees. That some guy like 20 years ago wrote, there's an oak tree at the start of the site. Yeah, we're in the woods.
Right, yeah.
And then you end at the other oak tree.
It's at the fence post, turn left.
Yeah, there's some site descriptions like that.
Yeah, what'd you say about like in the river? It's where they log jam. There's a log jam there.
Yeah, it's not there anymore. It could be not there in a week.
Yeah, exactly. That was 15 years ago.
Yeah, we did have some site surveys like that where it's like the descriptive factors are not very descriptive. I can't remember the one, but it was the big dead oak tree was, I think, one of them. It was not there, and it was like a 7-year survey cycle.
Okay.
There's no trees.
The big not even a tree.
They took all the trees out.
Oh man.
So it's like, okay.
Now what?
Here's good.
Here's good.
No, so O'Hare has weird stuff happening at it, and besides the Mothman, the Denver airport is known for having like the big underground stuff under it. People claim the same thing about O'Hare. It just doesn't get talked about as much.
Okay. Underground like tunnels or something? Or
it's an underground facility. So I had a friend describe seeing giant, so under O'Hare, there shouldn't be any large sewer network in the rivers. There shouldn't be any outflows into the rivers or anything like that. because the river just flows right out of O'Hare, somebody claimed to see giant concrete culverts that had dead-ended, like, middle in the river. There was no opening, but almost like it was a bunker or a room. It's the same thing we'd see. It's culverts, the same thing you see, the big concrete culverts.
Yeah.
People sometimes use them to build underground things. Sometimes they use them for, like, sewers and stuff like that.
Right.
But so it's claimed that those are in the bottom of the river that runs through the middle of O'Hare.
Okay. What would that be? What would they be there for?
Well, that's what, is an old sewer system that just never got finished.
Yeah.
But they're giant. They're like 12-footers.
Oh, so, okay.
But
so
not
really
unheard of.
Yeah, yeah.
For, especially a major metropolitan area sewer system.
To be abandoned?
No, to be that big.
Right.
But no, there's abandoned stuff all over Chicago.
Okay.
There's stuff, because that city's built on the corpse of the old city.
Correct, yes.
So there's all kinds of stuff like that. If you want to go that route,
tons.
You can find whole pieces of city underground.
Mm-hmm.
That's just because they built right on top of it.
And I got my own theories about that, too.
Mm-hmm. But it's still weird.
Very, yes, I agree. Yes, very weird.
And the signal jamming and stuff like that, they explain it because it's an international airport. It's one of the busiest ones in the U.S., and it's for protection.
It's always for protection.
Yeah, that's what they claim. So, yeah, there is weird stuff happening at O'Hare. And there's kind of a weird military presence there, too.
Like, it's not just planes flying in and out? Like,
what do you mean?
Like, that's where the airport... There's more going on at the airport than just planes flying in and out?
It has basically a UFO seen over O'Hare International Airport about once every 3 or 4 days.
Oh, wow, okay. Didn't know that.
Yeah. And what were we talking about with Point Pleasant?
They were seeing UFOs all the time.
How many were they seeing?
About... probably more than that, even, at the height.
At the height, they were seeing one about every day.
Exactly, yeah. But they were seeing them probably very similar, every 3 to 4 days, easily, I would say, back then.
And we're not going to get too into this, but I'm drawing comparisons to why the Mothmans may be hanging out around O'Hare versus, like, the TNT plant. Like, they're very different things.
Yes, very, yeah.
But military presence, possible underground things that aren't documented.
UFO presence.
A lot of UFOs. And the Smiling Man has been seen a lot in Chicago in the last 10 years.
Ah, okay. That I didn't know about.
Don't think it's Indrid.
Correct.
Because it's a lot scarier.
And he's supposedly dead.
And I think when we talked about the Men in Black, I think it may be an impersonation of Indrid by those entities. Because this thing is terrifying.
And they're very deceptive, these entities. Because it could be something from somewhere else, and not from here.
And not from here, we're gonna coin.
We should coin it, or unless if we can shorten it somehow. I just don't like the word alien.
Yeah, not from here.
Not from here.
I don't like interdimensional either because they're just too big.
Yeah, it's just hard to understand.
Yeah, they're not from here. That's all you need to know. Mm-hmm. Whether they're demons or aliens or interdimensional beings.
But even here, there could be here.
It's not.
It's just not here,
It's
or
not
we
this
are.
fish tank.
Huh?
It's not this fish tank.
Well, maybe. Yeah, I don't know. Different conversation.
Anyways.
We'll save that for our conspiracy podcast.
Yes. Jay, we just brought it up. We have no idea, but we may start a conspiracy podcast. Anyways. Just don't laugh at me. So O'Hare has a lot of these same similarities.
Yep.
Where it's getting to be... It's weird, but no... So... What we are going to talk about next, after all this, is maybe the omen of death or the bringer of death is what the Mothmans claim to be. Mm-hmm. But we haven't had that happen. It's been happening a longer time at O'Hare than it has been, at Point Pleasant. So, was Point Pleasant, like we talked about, I think 2 episodes ago, was the bridge actually not the climax? Was it just an accident or a byproduct that happened to happen at the same time of activity?
Interesting.
Because it seems to be this is a phenomena with a lot of pieces that may or may not be connected, but they're all happening.
They're all happening. That's the thing. They're all similar. Mm-hmm. I wonder if there's something going on that's causing Mothman and all these other UFOs, everything like to be happening. If there's something going on that is causing it rather than them just coming around and causing, I don't know, it themselves. Does that make sense?
So, yep, hold on to that thought, because that's our cherry.
Okay, our cherry. Okay. Gotcha. Save the cherry.
But yeah, so that's it for the Great Lakes Mothman. Like I said, it's been seen all over, everywhere from Lake Erie. It's been seen on every Great Lake. But specifically, Chicago, O'Hare,
In Lake Michigan.
and Lake Michigan. A lot over Lake Michigan.
And I'm not up there, and we live right by that small little lake right above us.
Oh, Erie?
Yeah.
Erie has the least amount of Mothman sightings.
That little puddle. I visit there often, I guess, but I've never seen anything weird. Never.
Lake Erie has a lot of UFOs.
But I never looked. I never even thought about looking. That's the weird thing.
Look at you.
I know, right?
Playing right into the government's hand.
But you go to the lake to have fun, not to...
That is fun, looking for Mothman.
No, that is fun. True. From my own backyard, it's very fun. I go up to the lake to, like, I don't know, ride boats and stuff. Go fishing.
All right. So next, we're going to talk about similar cryptids.
Okay. Similar to the Mothman,
Similar to the Mothman.
but it's not the Mothman.
It could be. It depends on what, like we're going to talk about. Some of these are similar. Some of these are really similar.
Okay.
Yeah. So first guy, our good friend, the Batsquatch.
Our great friend.
Yeah, the Batsquatch. Once again, scratched somebody, tried to eat people, never was good at it.
Yeah, never really succeeded, did he?
Yeah, it seemed like more of an act of desperation than predation.
But it tried.
It tried for sure, but it was like, a raccoon trying to eat you. It wasn't very good at it, and if you kicked it hard enough, it'll go away.
Maybe. Did
it get anybody?
I guess not, but I've never seen anyone kick it or heard of that story.
Because they never turned and tried because it was scary.
Yeah, true.
It's like it's a flying animal, so it's built very light.
True. Batsquatch, yep. Trying to think, but he had blue fur.
But the Mothman was saying to be a dark gray.
Okay.
Somebody more of the color challenged as I am.
True.
They're the same color.
They're dark, yeah. Let's just put it that way.
They're the
dark.
same color.
Yeah.
To me, like that light blue, that lighter dusty blue and gray, they're all the same.
Might as well be, yeah.
I can't see the difference.
Especially, and I think, were they only spotted at night, both of them? Or at least Mothman, yes.
I think the Batsquatch is pretty much only spotted at night, besides the one time he was spotted at dusk.
Okay.
But the sun was actively going down. Mm-hmm. And that was the guy who went into the truck.
Yep, and he was there all night. And the red eyes, similar. And the only difference is probably the aggression.
Yeah, but that could have been a starving Mothman, like we said.
True.
I'm assuming if Mothman is fully physical, it's eating stuff like a big owl would eat, a lot of small animals, rodents and stuff like that. So when the mountain goes off, there's not much to eat.
No, not at all.
Especially even one of the few animals that survived, and everything else is bears.
And if it thought you did it, it would be very angry.
It's just like, I'm going to try. He put up too much of a fight.
Yeah.
I can't pick him up. The next is the Thunderbird. So think back, what was the first thing they called the Mothman?
Shoot.
I know it's been like 6 hours of recording ago.
I know. It's
The Big Bird.
the big bird.
Because
Okay.
remember they called the power plant the birdhouse.
That's true, yeah.
Yeah. They really thought it was a bird. It was not described as a man-ish very much. Like the statue downtown, I love it, but it doesn't fit a lot of the descriptions of the Mothman.
Correct, yeah.
It's more of an artist rendition.
He took his artistic license.
Yeah.
And made what
It
he
was
wanted.
more like a giant bird.
Okay.
Or a giant bird guy. Sorry, I just seen the thing to do with something. But yeah, so the Thunderbird is supposedly an all-black, supernatural, giant bird of a lot of Native American cultures. And each culture has a little bit of different twist on it and stuff like that. But they are part of the Ohio River Valley culture.
Oh, they are? Okay.
Yeah, Thunderbirds came all the way into Appalachia.
Weren't they from, didn't they start, in the southwest United States or Mexico or something?
That's where they're big in the culture.
Okay.
So, not that they're not present here in the Ohio Valley and into Appalachia. They were still part of these tribal traditions, but they just weren't a forerunner. They weren't one of the, I'm not sure how to put it for Native American culture and religion, but they were not one of the big figures. Out west, it's one of the bigger figures, prominent,
I think that's a good way to put it.
But it's present pretty much in all of these. It's just lighter over here. But the Ohio River, the Illinois tribes and stuff like that, they seen them all the time. Mm-hmm. Actually, there was the Thunderbird attack Oh, when was it? In the 90s. Picked up that kid.
In the 90s?
Yeah. And the mom said it was an all-black Californian condor, and it wasn't. First off, Californian condors can't close their feet, so they can't pick anything up.
Okay. So that one's out?
And second off, they're not all black. They have a lot of colorful faces and stuff like that.
Perhaps.
And they're like, at that point in the 90s, there was like 6 of them left.
Okay. California condors?
Yeah. They're one of the most endangered birds in the U.S.
Okay.
I think they're doing a lot better now. I don't know their actual status anymore, but it's the largest flying bird. I think it's the heaviest flying bird on the planet.
I was going to say, is it
The albatross maybe have a bigger wingspan, but the Californian condor is heavier.
is it a thermal vent rider or is it
Yeah, oh yeah.
Okay.
And that's what they think. So if you want to take the Thunderbird as a less spiritual aspect, they think that that's what started the legends of the Thunderbird.
Yes.
Is it would lead in thunderstorms into valleys and stuff like that. So if you looked, you've seen this giant bird. I'm talking, a 16, 17 foot wingspan.
Yeah, huge.
Flying way, a mile or two up.
Yeah.
And you see it, and it's dragging it looks like it's dragging a thunderstorm in.
But it's just riding that
It's riding
pressure.
the pressure in front of it. But if, you don't know that, it looks like this bird is dragging in a thunderstorm behind it. And that's that's one theory of how the Thunderbird legend started.
Got its name and everything.
A weird thing about the Thunderbird, though, is a lot of early sightings said it didn't have to flap its wings to get off the ground.
Ooh, that is strange, ain't it?
Because that's a lot with the Mothman.
I
We're
was
going
just
to come
going to
back
say
to
that.
later.
Yeah.
So hold on to that. I got that as a note for later. But a lot of these cryptids don't flap their wings to move. Some do, some don't.
Yeah. It's almost like they just vibrate them or something. It's just,
They're a little different.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah.
Next one, this is a big one. It'll probably be an episode one day. The Owl Man.
And that's, oh yeah, Mothman was described as Owlman.
They're the same thing.
Okay.
And this is literally 10 years later in England.
In England? Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I have its little synopsis.
So this is across the pond.
Yes.
Okay.
So the Owl Man is the name given to a large owl-like hominid or humanoid entity, noticeably similar to the Mothman. It lives in Cornwall, England. It's been sighted several times. The first sighting took place in 1976 in the village of Malin. The Owl Man is sometimes seen as an English concept of the Mothman due to the similarities between the Mothman and the Owl Man sightings. In the year of 1976, a paranormal researcher named Tony Doc Shells came forward claiming they had been investigating a report of 2 young girls on holiday in Malwyn who saw a large winged creature hovering above the church's tower on April 17th, 1976. Some stories vary, but most are consistent, in which comes to the creature that the girls dubbed the Owl Man. So the girls were the first ones to see it. They said it's the Owl Man. It looks like a big owl guy.
Uh-huh.
Not just like an owl. They don't, but it looks like a massive owl person.
Yeah, like a man / owl.
Mm-hmm. And then others started seeing it. So that's where it got dubbed the Owl Man. So this is 1976. Literally 10 years after. The big sighting started
in Point
Pleasant.
Mm-hmm.
There was many sightings before that, like we've said before, but that's when the big ones are, the scarberries and the mallets.
Right, exactly.
On July 3rd, a 14-year-old girl, Shelley Campman, was camping with a friend, Barb, in the woods near her church. According to her account, she stood outside her tent. She heard a hissing sound and turned to see a figure that looked like an owl, but as big as a man. He had pointed ears and giant red eyes. The girl reported the creature flew up into the air, revealing black pincher claws. So I'm assuming like owls have 2 toes at front, face backwards, 2 toes at face forward. I'm assuming like that an owl or a parrot.
Okay.
Where they have their feet specifically made to grab onto branches and stuff like that. Sightings of the figure continued to be reported the following days when it was described as like a silvery gray or a dusky gray. In the 2 occasions 2 years later, on June and August in 1978, all within the vicinity of his church, because both of the 1970s sightings involved Doc. Basically, they claim Doc of being a hoaxer.
Okay.
But however, Dowins claimed that the investigation of a young man who was named Gavin, had an encounter in 89. So like another 10, 12 years later, independent of shells. He claimed him and his girlfriend got chased. It was about 5 feet tall. The legs were high on the ankles. You're really describing bird legs, black with 2 huge toes that were visible on each side of the foot. The creature was gray with brown eyes, and they definitely glowed, is what he said.
Wonder if the brown eyes are just like a lower shade of red, or
well, like
less
we said,
intense red.
Red is the reflective color of the veins of these large-eyed animals.
Okay.
So if he wasn't shining a light in its face, it probably looked its almost normal color.
Okay. And they did describe, and some of the ones in Point Pleasant of it having a grayish color.
It's almost always gray or that gray-black. It was never... We see a lot of depictions. I painted one. They're jet black. That's not what the descriptions were. That's the more modernized thought.
It's an easier way to kind of describe it, to draw it.
So in 1995, a female tourist from Chicago wrote... So a lady from Chicago in 95 went to England. Yeah. Basically, she seen the thing. It had a ghastly face, a wide, flat mouth, glowing eyes, and pointed ears, as well as clawed wings, so 2 little hooks on the wings, like a pterodactyl. So she seen the Mothman. Then she went back to Chicago, and then that's where it went.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Who's this woman? We need more
Did she
info.
grow up in Point Pleasant?
Right, exactly.
So that's funny you say that.
We found our connection.
Well, you funny you say that. You ever seen Lost Tapes, the cryptid documentary on Animal Planet?
I don't think so.
So it's like where all these cryptids kill people, and it's like the found footage thing. It's great. But one was about the Owl Man.
Yeah.
And literally this old lady went to America, and the Owl Man showed up in a church, just like it was here, and she was one of the original kids that was sighted it. It's like, it's for me, it's been following me my whole life, and then it got her.
Oh, yeah. Is that what just...
But the big flat, so that lady from Chicago describes that big flat wide face, the big wide mouth. The one person in Point Pleasant that's seen the big wide mouth, that's exactly how they describe it. It had almost a beak, but it was wide and frog-like.
Wide and short, like a... I don't know, like a finch or something?
Almost like a frog.
Okay.
There's frog birds and stuff like that have that, but it's harder for people to picture.
Frog birds?
Yeah, they look like a frog and a bird had a baby. They got giant black eyes.
Interesting.
They look demonic.
Yeah.
All right, so that's the Owl Man.
Interesting. Do you think it's the same thing or same individual one going from one point to like over the UK to back to Chicago?
We'll save that for the end, but I don't know. I don't know if it's a group of these things. I don't know if it's one.
Right. I don't know either. But with them all being described the same and having similar, what's the word? Mentality or form of aggression where it's very lacking. It's not actually going after anyone. Like all that's very similar. Can't imagine they'd all be like that if there was multiple, They'd all be exactly the same. You don't know.
I don't know. It could be the same alien. So to bring up the Owl Man, I don't have the sighting written down. Sorry, I got the sniffles. So one couple that doesn't get accounted to the Owl Man's main sightings, and I believe this was 76 also.
Okay.
Seen him coming out of a UFO.
The Mothman?
Yeah,
or the
injured
Owlman?
cold style UFO with a big Tic Tac looking thing. And he kind of wobbled out. And he at that point, I think if I remember the story, he had some kind of what they would consider clothes. But it wasn't like full clothes like we were. He was wearing something and then left it he took it off, put it in the thing, and then took off.
Interesting. What if it's something transforming into this? Or what if this thing's like a pet for...
I literally said that last episode. You remember Injured Cold's dog?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, he was looking for his dog. Yeah, dog being the Mothman. I thought you meant... I took that the wrong way than yesterday.
The German Shepherd, yeah.
I thought you meant he was looking for an actual German Shepherd, and it was murdered by the Mothman, and he's just looking for his dead dog.
Mothman is his dog.
Gotcha. Now, okay. I didn't take it that way last time. Yeah, very well could be. I mean, UFOs, Mothman, they're always in the same place together. It could just be setting base camp in this area, and then just letting him run free, getting bugs and stuff to eat, and just hang out. Just
Pick you up in an hour.
Yeah, don't mess with anyone, all right? That's how it responded. Yeah. All right, buddy.
So here is probably the craziest similarity. The blackbird of Chernobyl.
Oh, boy.
It is, to me, so there's a couple documentaries you can actually watch on this.
Uh-huh.
But I'll give you the short and the sweet-ish. Mm-hmm. About 2 months before the Chernobyl disaster, which was completely man-made.
Yeah, it was.
It was an accident, and it was an accident, kind of. They told the guy, like, we shouldn't be running this test today. Like, oh, we got to do it because the board's here to watch. And then, boom.
Not good.
Because the core, so anybody doesn't know, the core was already powered down to, like, low output, to about as low as it could go without becoming unstable. So these cores always have to produce energy, but you can turn them up and down.
Okay.
But you can't turn them down past a certain point. They don't turn off.
Okay.
You can't turn off a nuclear power station. Like I said, you can turn them way down. But they have lead rods. In a case of emergency, like the core is going too high, you shove these lead rods in the core as a braking system.
Okay. Slows it down.
And it slows it way down.
Okay.
So the problem was, it was the day they were supposed to run this brake test. But they already had the core powered down to the lowest output. They didn't need it on high, so they had it powered down to low.
Okay.
But this kind of board came in and still wanted to see the brake system work. So they're like, you have to show us the brake system working. And kind of all the operators and engineers are like, we can't do it today. The core is too low. And if it goes too low, it'll become unstable. It's just like going too high.
Gotcha.
They can, either way, it's a big boom. But because there's a range, they can keep it stable. And they're like, no, you have to, you have to show us. We're here to inspect this. You have to show us. And they're like, so they kind of forced them. They did it. Boom.
That's what happened?
Yeah.
Wow.
It was bureaucracy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not listening to the guys that were like, yeah, we can't do this.
Right. Not listening to people that actually work there every single day.
Fast forward 2 months. Or rewind 2 months.
Okay.
So 2 months before this incident, the blackbird of Chernobyl showed up. And the Ukrainians actually had a legend kind of about a similar creature. It was called the death stork or the black stork. It was something like that.
Okay.
I couldn't find a direct translation when I was doing research.
It probably meant the death sandhill crane.
The death sandhill crane.
Yes.
Yes. And I'll give it that. This is one of the ones that is described as a very large black bird. Mm-hmm. Like our Thunderbirds or the Mothman or whatever. But there's a big parking garage for the actual power plant. Like, people don't know, Chernobyl had a city, a fair, it had a Ferris wheel, it had fishing ponds, because they basically had all these employees they needed in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
So they provided a very nice life for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was from everything I've read, it was actually a very pleasant, nice life. It was a good place to work. It was fun. Like, your kids had a good education. They built them a fair.
Yeah, which is awesome.
Yeah. So, but a lot of the life died, though, were civilians then. Mm-hmm. But that's the whole point. That was why they built so far away, in case it went, because it's one of the earlier ones they built.
Yeah.
Then it wasn't going to take out everybody.
Man.
Even though it burnt forests in Sweden. Pear.
No, it even got Sweden?
It went all over Europe. There was like a big trackway from the radioactive fallout.
Oh, wow. Oh, man.
But I think it was Sweden. Maybe in Switzerland.
So either way, I'm trying to think.
One of the S ones.
One of those S ones up there.
But I know there's a pine forest that ruined in one of those S ones, the really northern ones.
Yeah.
So the blackbird of Chernobyl was being seen. So like I was saying, there's a big parking garage to go to the power plant. It was basically there every day, every night, every morning, watching people, screaming at them. It was squeaking and doing the high-pitched noises and flapping and stuff like that. And had the big red eyes, big black kind of feathers, and it was flapping, going nuts. It was sweeping at people. It took one guy's hat off 3 times.
Wow.
And he was starting to get, first time, 2 times he was scared. The third time he was annoyed because it had these giant talons and everything like that. It never hurt anybody, but it would swoop at people.
And it was just plucking it. It plucked his hat off.
Mm-hmm. And so it was just freaking out. And it was seen, one of the steam towers.
Yeah.
It was seen on there. It was seen, flying around at night and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. It was looking in windows. It was making all kinds of noises for 2 months. 2 months. And then the last day before the incident, like, it was never seen during the day. The last day when people were coming in the morning, it was kind of trying to block the door and, like, swooping down in front of the door and stuff like that. Like,
yeah.
And, nobody listened. So after the big boom, there was all these helicopters that were flying and dumping water. People weren't really sure how to handle this stuff, but there was a lot of fire. But they were trying to dump water right on the big sludge. You ever seen the picture of the elephant foot?
No, I don't
That's
think
what the
I
core
have.
became.
What do you mean elephant foot?
They're called the elephant foot. It's just a big pile of radioactive sludge.
Ugh, okay.
And without being too horrible, there was firefighters down there that didn't know what to do. And the stuff wasn't hot to the touch. So they were picking it up and throwing it back into the hole. There was a big hole they were trying to put everything in to put concrete on top of. And those people were melting within hours.
Oh, no.
Melting. I don't mean like burned or anything like that. I mean
melting.
It was their DNA was falling apart.
Yeah, skin and muscles melting off their bones.
Bone.
Yeah.
Bone melting. They literally broke their DNA down. So they weren't nothing anymore.
Wow. Dang. Too bad they couldn't just pull them out and then reform them into something new.
But
Like a Mothman.
they lost thousands of people like that.
Well, yeah.
Because they didn't know what to do. Nobody knew. This is the first time this happened where it was this bad.
Yeah. Dang.
And they didn't tell anybody, don't touch that stuff with your hands.
Right, yeah. Well, how are you supposed to know, I guess?
But yeah, that's the elephant foot. And then they put it in the hole and covered it with concrete. But as these firefighters and all these helicopters dumping water, a bunch of them were reporting, there's this giant black bird in the smoke. It keeps bumping into the helicopters on accident and stuff like that. It's flying around. It looks like it's disoriented. One guy had it hit the front of the plane, the helicopter scream at him, and then take off, and it was just flying in circles like he didn't know what to do.
Wow.
And people described it as several different ones. I heard one pilot describe it as like a giant stork, and then I heard one describe it more like a Mothman. But a bunch of them said it had these giant red eyes. It was piercing. It looked like it was worried and upset. It was just trying to figure out something to do. But it never left the smoke. And so, if you want to bring the omen of death guy, is he just because he was sad?
Yeah. Yeah.
Or was it because it's a biological creature and it didn't want to be out in the sun, so it didn't want to leave the smoke?
So exactly, yeah, it's hiding in the smoke. I can
But
see
didn't know what
that.
else to do because there's helicopters flying in and out of this stuff constantly. It's getting smacked.
Yeah.
It was hit by like 10 different people.
Yeah, that's nuts. I'm shocked that none of the blades hit it.
Yeah. Yeah, that's just crazy.
Yeah,
So the
it
Black
is,
Bird of
very.
Chernobyl is probably the other really famous besides the Owl Man.
That's craziness. I didn't know about that. It almost sounds like it was a omen or a warning. Is it drawn to disasters before they happen, or
is it these bases that have superpower
exactly? Yeah, that's a common thing.
or feeding off radiation?
Oh yeah, it's just drawn to that maybe.
Exotic particles.
Okay. Oh, interesting.
Well, yeah. So that's what I got for Mothmans around the world. There's a bunch of other smaller ones. But those are kind of the big guys everybody points out of being, well, that looks just like Mothman. Well, that acts just like Mothman,
Yeah.
So the next thing I have, this is probably another one of our more somber sections.
Okay.
It's the bringer or the omen of death.
Okay. Yeah.
So some people accuse Mothman of causing these incidents. Some people say, no, he's just there to warn you, hey, something bad's going to happen, leave, get out.
Yeah.
So there's kind of two sides on this part where people look at it. So I'm going to go through these events. These are some of the worst events we've had in modern history. So we're not making light of any of these. A lot of people died. Some of these are really modern and very sad. But these are just ones that people say they had seen a Mothman at or before. These are horrible events occurred. First one is obviously Chernobyl.
Right.
We just went over that story.
Pretty big one.
Yeah. The second one is 9/11.
I didn't know there was Mothman seen at 9/11.
It was seen the night before flying through the skyscrapers.
Whoa, like between them and stuff? Interesting.
Yeah.
Around the same time, Donald Rumsfeld was giving his speech about how we lost like $3 trillion. We don't know where it went.
No, I don't know about that.
That was the
I
night
just know
before.
there was a Mothman there.
The night before.
And then the I-35 bridge collapse. That was in 2007 in Minneapolis. He was seen there too, another bridge collapse.
Which bridge was it?
The I-35 West Bridge.
I-35, okay.
That was in
Interesting.
2007.
Up in Minnesota, you said?
Minneapolis.
Minneapolis.
Yeah, Minnesota.
Okay, sorry. Oh, yeah, okay. Wow, okay, so another bridge collapse. How many people,
145 injured.
holy moly, how many people were passed?
13 lost their lives.
Okay, that's still a big deal.
The swine flu outbreak in Mexico hit Mexico a lot harder than it hit us.
Yeah.
Here, I remember it wasn't that big a deal, but in Mexico, it was pretty bad.
What was that, like 2009?
2009, April. Yeah, he's seen in the, I can't say the Mexican state of Chihuahua, something like that.
Okay.
There's 2 Mothmans
Oh.
that were all around the city the week before it broke out from the city it started in.
Mothman spread this flu.
Or is it a warning? Hey, nobody leave. Everybody should stay here for a bit.
Stay here while I dump this bag of dust all over you. It doesn't contain anything harmful. Swine flu outbreak.
But yeah. So
Weird.
that's the little list I have for that. What do you think?
Whether it's warning or
Is it weird
causation.
how many times? But so here's it is. Is it in the zeitgeist that people think back because they seen a weird bird and they know the Mothman is an omen of death? Mm-hmm. So they're like, okay, I seen a vulture, but was that actually the Mothman?
True.
This is what happened.
Well, okay. I'll say to counterpoint that, even to say, I would almost say it would be weird enough to notice it before the tragedy happened. So therefore, you wouldn't have known a tragedy was going to happen, but you still noticed a weird bird that I guess is out of the ordinary from what you normally see, right?
I don't know.
Like if it was,
I really don't know the answer to this.
if it was just a vulture before everything happened, you would probably look up and see it. And just like we see
I
birds
guess
every day.
What I'm saying is I think some of these people have the prerequisite that they're looking maybe with, what is that called? Rose-colored glasses backwards, and seeing everything. It was the Mothman. It was the Mothman.
Seeing what they want to see
Yeah.
to fit the story, I guess. Right. Well,
Everything but the Chernobyl.
yeah.
Because that was seen by like a couple hundred people.
A lot of people, yeah. I'm just saying, like, if a one-off guy saw a vulture flying around the buildings before 9/11, I doubt he would kind of make note of, oh, remember that bird I saw?
I don't know the 9/11 one, how many people actually saw that.
Yeah. Well, I'd never heard of it.
It wasn't a big thing, but it was one that people note for this kind of stuff.
Yeah. It's interesting because, again, another tragedy, and there it was. But yeah, is it causing it, or is it warning, or...
Happy accidents.
Yeah, coincidence? Probably just a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences.
All right. So we're getting towards the end. Are you ready?
I think so.
Before we get into possible explanations, what do we think? And what do we think of the place? We're going to talk about Mothman and Media.
Oh, okay. The movie.
Yeah, that's my first one.
Yeah.
The Mothman Prophecy.
Movie is great.
Yep. The Mothman is so that's the Mothman Prophecies. That was 2002. Drama, horror, and mystery. Good movie. It only grossed $35 million.
I think it's more of a cult classic. I mean, 35 is still good, but it's like I think as time goes on, it gains a little bit more and more of a following.
I think you're probably right there.
Yeah.
It's definitely one that people constantly talk about.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
And then there was this one called The Mothman, a 2010 TV movie. A group of friends band together to hide the truth about their mutual friend's tragic death. They soon discover an evil entity is in pursuit of them. Never seen it.
Me either.
It had... Do I have its rating? I don't have that one's rating.
We might have to watch that one, just see how it compares to the legends and to what actually was
The
reported.
director was Sheldon Wilson.
Sheldon Wilson? I don't know who that is.
Neither do I.
Okay.
I don't recognize any of the actors' names either.
Okay. Maybe it's a made-for-TV movie.
I'm going to guess so, yes. The Mothman Curse is the next one. It is not rated. It's a horror movie. An ancient evil unleashed, the supernatural thriller based on a terrifying legend of the Mothman. Rachel and Katie work together in a large, empty museum. Yeah, 2014.
That's even more recent. Never heard of it.
Oh, these keep getting more recent.
Okay.
They're all in the 2000s roughly now, I think.
Okay.
Number 4 is The Moth.
The Moth. Actually, I think I remember hearing about that one. Is that a movie? Or is it a TV show?
It is a movie, I'm going to guess. It's based out of Europe.
Maybe not, then. Just sounds familiar, The Moth.
2010 to 2012, Weird or What? Episode, Monsters. And the Mothman's in that. And then 2009, or I guess no, there wasn't a whole bunch of episodes of this series. Mystery Hunters. Mm-hmm. It was in like 5 episodes.
I would like to go back, and now that we've really, I don't know, sunk our teeth into Mothman, we know a lot about it. I'd like to go back and watch some of these and how much they portray reality.
Your favorite, Mountain Monsters.
Oh, yes.
The Mothman of Mason County. They went and actually fought the Mothman. He's still there.
What, fighting? Is Wild Bill fighting him?
Yeah.
I bet. He's still fighting him, yelling at him. Mm-hmm. Get down off that birdhouse.
I think it's funny they actually put their real names in for the stars, the cast of the show.
Yeah.
And it's just funny. Because Huckleberry's real name is Huckleberry.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome.
I thought
it was a nickname?
I always thought it was a nickname or something.
Yeah.
No, his real first name is Huckleberry.
That's awesome.
Because the rest of them kind of have nicknames and stuff like that, you know. Uh-huh. Huckleberry's real name is Huckleberry.
Just Huckleberry. That's so cool.
It's on Unsolved Mysteries. It was on In Search of Monsters, which is a pretty new the docu-series. Mm-hmm. It's pretty, I like it. It's a little bland, but I like it for that. And it was on Lost Tapes, the 2009 Mothman.
Ah, interesting. Mm-hmm. So it's been in a lot.
Oh, yeah.
It's still going?
Yeah, I'm going to skip all these. That was the list.
It's a whole bunch. So it's in a lot of things. Mm-hmm. I would like to watch. I think the only thing I've actually seen of all those is Mothman Prophecies, which it's been a long time since I've seen it, but I remember when I watched it, it was an awesome movie. It was so good.
Yeah, the Mothman Prophecies is probably the Mothman movie. Mm-hmm. It is the best one.
Oh, yeah. Be worth rewatching.
Mm-hmm. Stretching, guys. Stretching. We're like 6 hours into this recording.
It's a long one.
I hope you guys enjoyed it so far.
Yes.
Because we're going to start getting into the chunky stuff. Are you ready?
I hope so.
So we're going to do possible explanations. We've already covered the Sandhill Crane. I think that was part 3, installment 3.
2 or 3. I think it might be at the end of 2.
Oh, because of Scarberries?
Yeah.
You brought it up because they said that was a balloon.
The balloon, yeah. And then the sand.
I don't need that rage again. But yeah, it's not a balloon. It's not a Sandhill Crane. Could be. At least in 90% of them.
Could be. Almost all of them.
I could believe towards the end of the Mothman sightings, it was a Sandhill Crane by some people.
You don't believe the balloon theory?
Yeah, I don't believe the balloon theory. He never said it was shaped like the Mothman.
No.
He never said it had big red reflectors on it.
Balloon.
It was a balloon
that we released in science class.
It got taped on the car. And Gary and the police didn't recognize it as a balloon either because they're all dumb because I am the janitor at a high school, but I am a volunteer helper for the science department. You're all dumb.
And the newspaper reporter, I want you.
Why me? Because I'm the smartest man in town.
Yep.
Ah, it's a balloon.
Stroke his ego.
The UFOs were all swamp gas. Balloons and swamp gas. I actually filled the balloon with swamp gas.
And it exploded and I read 2 fireballs.
And that's how Injured Cold came to be.
Yeah, exactly.
It was actually a man I burnt to death.
All right, guys, that's been the podcast.
We figured it out.
That's our explanation.
That's how I imagine he talked. Just all nasal.
Yeah. Oh, my gosh.
Owls is the next explanation. And this is one that would be a lot more reasonable than a Sandhill Crane because the thing looks like an owl in general body shape and appearance.
And it was called Owl Man.
Yeah, it looks much more like an owl or a large, thick bird. Sandhill cranes and herons in general are very tall and lanky,
really spindly. Yeah,
yes,
thin legs.
They don't look like much because they're not.
You could blow them over with a.
They're Dover demons.
There you go.
So yeah, that's one that I could see some of the sightings being an owl, especially after Mothman hysteria took off, that everything was Mothman, which I get. That happens. I don't think the Scarberry's seen an owl.
No.
A great horned owl, I think, is our biggest owl in the U.S.
And
the European eagle owl, I think, is the biggest owl.
And how big roughly do you think that is?
They're big. They're bigger. They're a little bigger than bald eagles.
But like 7 foot, 7 foot tall.
I'm saying no to kill the German Shepherd.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
Yeah, I could see an eagle owl actually taking out a German Shepherd.
He's grabbing one.
Yeah, I could see it. but chasing a car at 100 miles an hour.
Swooping in and out of light.
To talk about owl behavior for a minute, they can be very territorial. They will attack people. They will chase you. So, like, there's homes that will actually get owls smacking their windows and their sidings.
Yeah.
Because the owls build their nest too close to the home, and then they take the home. They want you to move your home.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And they'll throw their bodies into the window and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And, like, they'll come at you. They'll cut you up and stuff.
Good Lord.
So owls can be very aggressive.
But none of these were ever really that aggressive, were they?
Well, the chasing of the car, that happened several times.
True.
The bumping, remember? The lady,
Bumping
bumping into the house several different times.
Bumping into the helicopters in Chernobyl.
Yeah. That one was because he was lost.
Yeah.
His home blew up.
There we go, yeah.
Why does this keep happening?
Right, yeah, everywhere I go.
The bridge fell. I used to sleep in that.
And then the 2 buildings I have just perched up in. Both
Blew.
of them. Yeah.
All right. So that's kind of it for the more reasonable explanations, if you want to put them like that. Next, this is one that gets a lot of people behind it. Was it's actually a man in a suit.
Okay.
Some kind of U.S. government-style suit because of the no flapping.
Okay.
Mothman has been reported to flap. I want to make that clear, especially in the sounds of flapping and stuff like that. But in taking off, it seems to just jump.
Just goes. Yeah.
Just go straight in the air.
I would never rule that one out.
But I don't understand it. Like, that's the Glimmer Man and stuff like that. People just put as it's a guy in a suit because I threatened to shoot it and he left.
You did personally? Or
No, the stories
okay,
were like,
say. You never told me your Glimmer Man
the
story.
Glimmer Man came in the house and I pointed a gun at it and he left.
Yeah.
So that's not really what we see with aliens, and it's not really what we see with supernatural creatures. That's more like a guy in
human.
technology. It was like, you got me.
Yeah. Just
Don't put a hole in me.
creep out of the room. Talk to you guys later. I'll never put past government and a guy in a suit. That's always at the top of the list. Could be. Because you can't rule it out. We can do with so many things that we just don't know. You can't never rule it out.
I agree. I don't think that's what this is,
Right?
but it's up there. That's why it's a fan favorite.
I'll say that. I don't think it's what it was either, but I will never rule it out.
All right. What do you think about the curse of Chief Cornstalk? Do you actually think that's what's causing the Mothman in this particular case? Do you
Just
think
in
they're
Point
Native
Pleasant?
American curses or curses in general is what's causing this Mothman?
I would say Mothman directly, no. It just doesn't feel like it to me, in my opinion. The bridge falling could.
Do you think Chief Cornstalk actually cursed the town?
Oh.
There's a lot of argument about that.
Speculation whether he did or not. I guess I can't say. I don't know.
It would be extremely out of character for him. It's also extremely out of character for the Shawnee.
But like we said earlier, when you watch your kids get murdered,
Yeah, but
and
he
then
also
they're actively murdering you.
But he also told them not to fight and just lay down.
True, but I mean, you never know what could come out of your mouth.
I agree. I'm just saying, but it's not like something the Shawnee did a lot.
Right. Which is, if it's out of character for them, I'd say probably not, because it would have probably reared its head a lot sooner or a lot more often than it did. Waited, however many years it was later. I don't know, 200 years roughly, maybe a little less, but
1770s.
So almost
200 years on the dot, basically.
Yeah, so like, I would feel like a curse might have reared its head a little
76,
sooner. Okay.
I think 1776.
Sounds maybe right.
It's in the 1770s he was killed.
Okay. I remember, we looked at his little gravestone there when we were there.
Yeah, we gotta bring that back up. His body's still in Point Pleasant.
Yes, it is.
And I don't know why.
And his bones are in the bottom of an obelisk, a small one at that, where his gravesite is.
It's weird.
It's very strange. And it's right next to that Dunmore's.
I was gonna say Water Panther Rock.
Oh, that too, yep. There's a water panther stone there, which I read that. I don't understand their explanation of it.
I don't think it's right, but it's
I don't
whatever.
think so either. But
I'm not the West Virginia History Board.
exactly. I mean, just, I don't know. But it's also right next to that John Dunmore's, the guy that wasn't he the one-
Fighting. They were fighting.
Yes, they're literally,
But it's in Chief Cornstalk Memorial Park, and Chief Cornstalk's at the back, and his obelisk is like 3 foot tall.
yes.
And Dunmore's is right in the middle, and it's like 200 foot tall.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, Probably 40.
It's probably 40 or 50 foot for real, but
Yeah, which is huge, but yeah.
everything else in this park is not taller than 10 feet.
Not even close. Half the trees aren't even.
I just think that's such a slap in the face.
And probably like that for a reason.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, no, I'm going to say he probably didn't. My gut says he probably didn't curse him.
Okay.
That's my opinion.
So that's all I have for possible explanations without us going into our own thoughts to explain it. So we're going to save that tidbit because I think that's going to be a big chunk.
Okay.
So let's talk about Point Pleasant itself.
Yeah.
I know it's going to be a little out of order,
It's all right.
but what did you think of the town?
When we were there, it seemed like just a normal small town in America, but it had really cool, I want to say art everywhere, but like just really cool history.
There's a lot of museums. There's a
posted
lot
everywhere.
of parks.
Yeah.
We didn't get to go into the Riverboat Museum.
Oh, okay.
And Nick wanted to go into that, but I got a migraine, so we didn't get a chance to go.
Gotcha.
So next time we go down, we'll go to that. But there's a lot of history. The memorials on the flood wall.
Yeah.
It tells the history of Point Pleasant.
Which is awesome. You can
It's a snapshot in time.
It's like a walking timeline in giant paintings of the history of that area. Really neat. Mm-hmm. I like that a lot.
The museum's awesome. The guys that run it are super nice.
Oh, yeah.
Cool stuff. The Mothman, or the cafe that has a big Mothman cookie.
We did have Mothman cookies.
Mothman poops.
Yep, you had a whole bag of them.
I had 2 bags.
Oh,
2 bags of Mothman poop. They're chocolate-covered espresso beans.
You were wired. Mm-hmm. But, yeah, awesome stuff. Really, I would go back.
I can't believe I still got a migraine, even though I ate like a pound of espresso beans.
Maybe you overdid it.
No.
It's like a nuclear reactor. You
Then
excited it.
Then I would just explode.
It's kind of what happened, I think.
Oh, you're probably right. But no, I love Point Pleasant, West Virginia.
Yeah, I had a great time there.
If you like this stuff, it's definitely the place to go and hang out.
And check out and explore. Just to go anywhere, explore. There's stuff everywhere. Just to read
you can literally walk the TNT plant area for hours.
Yeah. Oh yeah. We were only there for we were there. We drove around a while, but maybe an hour tops, where we actually walked around.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Because we were looking for the aqueducts and where the factory actually used to be, and then that's unfortunately where I got my migraine, so we had to leave.
You were getting too close to the source.
Yeah, the Mothman caused it.
Yep.
He's still there.
I witnessed it. He's still there. Yeah. Still hanging out. There's nothing like that there.
That's what, I don't know. I got a migraine.
Exactly. we gotta go, guys.
Infrasound.
No.
He's Bigfoot teased me how to do infrasound. It's the Mothman to the Bigfoot.
Maybe he taught Bigfoot.
No, I don't think so.
You think Bigfoot's here first?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah. We'll get into our thoughts.
For sure.
Bigfoot has like 8,000 years of sightings.
It's true.
Mothman has like 120-ish, 130-ish.
Significantly less.
It's almost like when we started developing nuclear energy.
Bum,
bum, bum. All right, so that's pretty much it for this installment. The last installment of our Mothman series will be our personal thoughts and what we think happened and what we think causes this.
Okay.
All right, we'll be back.
Mothman, I was once in your shoes, I said. I was down and out with the blues. I felt no man even thought I was real. They just thought I was some big bird. That's when someone came up to me and said, young man, go and lurk in the trees and just hide there. In the forest all day, you can scare anyone that way. Boom, 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 boom.
Cause you're a big old M-O-T-H. I say you're a big old M-O-T-H.
You have big flappy wings, creepy glowing red eyes, and the element of surprise.
Once again, that's amazing. That is Mothman parody, or the Mothman parody by Studio Bunny.
I'm about to write the Mothman blues.
I know, you sounded dead, but fun. Welcome back to the last installment of our season 1 finale. It's amazing. The
big
Mothman.
one.
I am Mr. E.
I am... nothing still. I have no inspiration for a nickname.
I'm trying to think.
We'll think of it for
The
next
Wild
season.
Wober.
Yeah, that makes no one understand any of that. Yeah, what?
Jay's last name is Wober.
How about Wolf Bear? Call me Wolf Bear.
The Wolf Bear.
Yeah.
I'll be Ozark Howler.
I'll be a Wolf Bear. Wolf Bear J.
Jellyfish Jay.
There we go. Yeah.
The atmospheric blob known as Jay.
Put that on a t-shirt.
And together we are Cryptids of the Corn podcast.
Gosh.
This is our season 1 finale, episode 50, installment 7.
98.
Part 98. We're at like 9 or 8 hours of recording, I think. We were at 5.5 before, and then we did an hour, so we're at 6.5. So I think we'll probably end it right around 8, I'm going to guess.
Probably, yeah. We'll see how long this one goes.
Yeah. So this is all about our actual thoughts on the Mothman, Agent Cold, Men in Black, everything. So we're just going to...
Run down the list and tie it all together and...
If we can. If not,
give our explanation.
So let's just start with the original Mothman sightings.
Yep.
Point Pleasant, Scarberries, the ones from Behind the Red Eyes by Jeff. What do you think?
On the whole deal, are we doing the whole account?
We're just doing the sightings. We're going to do this piecemeal first.
Okay.
And then we'll do our overall thought of how we each tie it together.
Okay. Scarberry's experience, I think real, and I think frightening. But at the end of the day, no harm was done. But I believe their accounts to be believable and real. Mm-hmm. Is that what you're asking me?
Yeah, good.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it happened. I don't think there was much exaggeration. They had PTSD or something similar.
Okay, yeah.
They had definitely long-term trauma from the event.
Just shocked.
Which I get.
Yeah, I would, same thing.
Something very otherworldly that you're seeing.
Especially when you know you're going 100 miles per hour and this thing is still, like, right on you.
And not passing them, not losing them. It's just purposely choosing to be going that speed with them.
Right with them, yep.
And then all the other accounts we had, from the one from the coal pit banging into the house to, all the other amazing stories we had or experiences we had. I believe 99% of them. I think there is a couple when you really read through the sightings and stuff like that, you can be like, okay, that guy seen an owl.
Right.
Okay, because it's Mothman hysteria.
Mm-hmm.
There's a handful of all the big swath of sightings we have. They can be like, okay, that's explainable because you didn't quite see what everybody else seen, but you were also looking for the Mothman every night you walk to your barn. Mm-hmm. And now there's a barn owl, and you're like,
yeah, Mothman.
And then I shot a barn owl.
Yeah.
That's actually a story in Behind the Red Eyes about the guy that shot an owl.
Really?
Because he was so freaked out about the Mothman.
Yeah. I don't blame him.
He's probably like, that owl's like, oh, here comes Farmer John. What has you got? Boom!
Yeah. What's that in your hand? That's John Lennon's last song.
It's illegal to shoot owls, just so everybody knows.
Ah, okay. I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. I wouldn't do it, though.
You can't shoot anything besides game birds. You have to shoot game birds in season.
Oh, wow.
Besides some invasive. I think like the European starling, you can shoot like mass.
Well, then I'm going to admit to it. When I was a little kid, I shot this bird out of a bush with a BB gun. I felt horrible.
Was it a European starling?
No idea.
Well, probably just say it was a European starling so you feel better.
All right. Yeah, it's black and brown.
It was a European starling, most likely.
It was small. Wasn't big.
Got little spots on it.
I don't remember. I was like 8 and I shot it with a BB gun. And I was like, I watched it standing on the branch. I hit it and it hung onto the branch, but hung onto the spun upside down and then dropped. And I was like, what'd I do? I had no idea. Felt bad.
I had no idea what I had done.
But I got him.
Yeah.
I got him.
I know somebody that would shoot. So somebody lost a dog to the black vultures, which are from Texas, not turkey vultures.
Okay.
And they're a lot more aggressive. And they picked up like the little Yorkie dog and dropped it to kill it. They do that with groundhog and stuff like that too. They pick them up and carry them up and drop them.
Oh, wow.
And so he had a BB gun, and you can't kill one with a BB gun. It just won't break their skin. It'll hurt them. Mm-hmm. But what he would do is he'd pick a side of the wing, and knock off all the flight feathers off of one side.
With a BB gun?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. What a shot.
Yeah, he was a really good shot. And you just see a big chunk of flight feathers come off, and then you see him like wobble in the midair, and then he'd re-straighten out. Then he'd blow another chunk off the same side, and then eventually just go down and crash.
Wow. I would do the same thing if I got my dog.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. What a shot.
Yeah. Aim for the wings.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's the main sightings, the Scarberries and stuff like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Back on task.
Back
here.
on task.
Yeah. Got a little distracted. Mothman.
There's no need to feel down. I said Mothman.
Yeah.
Pick that man off the ground. I said Mothman. Swing your new friend around.
Are you making this up?
That's a verse.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, the cheap cornstalk stuff, I don't think had anything really to do with Point Pleasant, as in what we're talking about in the modern sense.
Yeah, I would leave that out of any of my conclusions as to what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it plays a role.
What do you think about the poltergeist activity?
Now that's creepy. So I think it's probably some like high electromagnetic energy going on in that area for whatever reason.
So I'm going with you. I think there's whatever kind of energy it is. There's an energy spike.
Yeah.
For some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what's tying everything together.
I would agree with that too. And
I think the poltergeist, whether they are actually entities or people's subconsciouses that are expressing these behaviors,
right.
Which is what some paranormal researchers believe, that poltergeists are actually us-caused phenomenon. They're not anything real. Like, they're not there. It's just us, the loose energies we have, causing these events to happen.
I could see that.
So there's a lot more free energy
going around
in the air, so it's easier for these things to happen. You're mad, I don't want the book to fall off the shelf again, but you're putting that out there.
Yep.
So it's falling off the shelf again.
Yep. And when you're mad, you have an energy spike within you. It's an emotion, whether it's anger, sadness, anything. Hungry. Yeah. I think that leads to anger or sadness.
It depends on how fast I get food.
Yeah, I don't think hunger itself is an emotion, but it leads to one of those two. Or happiness. Happiness is one too.
It depends on how fast you get the food.
Right.
It's a starter emotion.
Exactly. Yeah. That's like pouring gasoline on a fire, whatever fire is burning.
I'm going to have a stronger emotion here in a second unless somebody brings me food.
Exactly. And then now all your books are flying off the wall.
Because I said Mothman.
Yeah.
There's no need to feel down. I said Mothman.
It would be nice though when people would know you're hungry. Like if pictures start falling off the shelves.
I just think Madeline, but like eviler.
You mean not Madeline, Matilda? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
and then the friggin' plates are flying off the wall.
There might be some. I know Matilda's just like a kid's story and stuff.
Because she only had to read books.
Right. But you might be missing in that movie is she went through a huge childhood trauma.
Mrs. Trenchbull?
No, just from her. Then they had her, but remember they really neglected her. Mm-hmm. Like she went through childhood trauma, but they don't really explain that. They just kind of show you a little bit, like, oh, it's sad, like think how sad it is. But if you really imagine yourself in that situation,
she got a TV dinner every night.
Yeah. And once she was self-educated, she realized, oh crap, like these people suck. But what I'm saying is she went through childhood trauma. She might have had some crazy thing change within her to where she tapped into whatever these emotional powers or things you can change with, with your thoughts, that she was able to control it or develop it,
So that's Jay's movie review on Matilda.
Exactly. I'm just saying there might be a little more truth to it than you would let on, because that's not what's supposed to happen. And
a newt.
The world we live in, yeah. Wouldn't that kill her?
Yeah, oh yeah.
That's
tetrodotoxin. They all have it.
Right.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Oh, I know, but she's Miss Trunchbull and she lived through it.
Yeah, she's a scary old German lady.
Exactly. She probably had built-in immunity.
Mm-hmm. She probably just picks him up, eats them raw.
Exactly. But
I use them for tea.
But exactly.
Gives it a little kick.
A little, neurotoxic kick. Yeah. But
it's like grandma's gin.
Back to the Mothman or the poltergeist activity.
So yeah, I think that's what it's causing. It's something else. I don't want to get to my final thought yet. Mm-hmm. I don't want to ruin what I think caused all this stuff. But I think all of these things are symptoms.
Yes, I agree.
They're not necessarily interconnected or a part of the same thing, but they are a part of the same phenomena. And the phenomena is if you want to go symptoms, it is the disease. And the Mothman, the Men in Black, Injured Cold, the UFOs, poltergeist are the symptoms.
Yes.
They don't necessarily have to do anything with each other, but they're there for the same reason or because of the same reason.
Correct.
We'll get into the Mothman. I don't think it was a not from here.
Right.
I think he kind of got pulled through and not happy about it.
Trying to think like how I can make an analogy to what you're saying. Like, let's say you get shot in the gut, and now,
So if you have
now you got an infection in your arms or
so
you're in
when
your
you
body.
have an infection,
Yeah, it spreads.
the fever is not caused by the infection. That is your body deciding to turn up the heat to kill the infection
But the fever's a symptom.
of the infection, not caused by it.
Correct.
So they are interconnected and not interconnected.
But even the sickness isn't the problem. Like it's the getting shot in the gut. You know, that was the whole ordeal of everything. But so I don't know if that's the best way I can try to describe it.
Men in Black. What's your thoughts?
Okay, so they were there. I believe the people's accounts were true, and when describing them, and it's weird that there was multiple ones. I do think they were different, but where each one was from it's hard to wrap your mind around. I do think there was one that was interdimensional, not from here. I don't think it was from space or anywhere other planet.
I just thought of your nickname.
What's my nickname?
Not from here, Jay.
Not from here. Okay, maybe I'm not. I don't fit that. Sometimes.
So sorry, continue.
You don't feel like
Men
you
in
don't
Black.
fit. Yeah, the Men in Black. And now I'm thinking of that nickname. Trying to trim it down. But yeah, real. I think they were real. 100%. The accounts that were told. Who are they? What are they? I almost feel like they're searching for knowledge of what people know. But at the same time, now that I'm exploring this, shouldn't they already be able to read your minds, at least the ones that can talk to you and know what you already know?
No, I think you're combining Indrid and them.
Okay, so they would be separate.
Well, I'm just saying. They may not be separate. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
That could be.
that's an Indrid story, not these Men in Black story.
True. So I do think they're searching for knowledge of what you have, what information. It doesn't sound like they're really trying to figure anything out to solve anything. It's almost like they're there for a cleanup crew cover-up.
So here's what I'll say. There's 3 types of Men in Black. I don't think they're connected. I think they're all mimicking. I think there's the government guys. It's that set of 2, the big burly guy, the little lawyer type. They're there to get you to stop looking into it for the government's sake because they want to research it and not be out.
Okay.
You have the single guy is that little nerdly human that's trying to be John Keel, trying to investigate, trying to do this stuff, is not a talker. So he's trying to use the intimidation factor of what he's already heard about because the Men in Black was already out. They're trying to, Then you have the actual Men in Black. These.
Sorry.
You okay?
Yep.
These alien-like entities
That are-
inside of a suit that looks people-ish.
People-ish, yeah.
Yeah. They never look people fully. Like, walking down the street, you may not tell, but when you're face-to-face talking to one,
It's obvious.
you're like, oh, you're not from here.
You're a man wrapped in giant pig intestines
You are an iguana, aren't you, sir?
with lipstick on.
Would you like this piece of lettuce in this mealworm?
There's your indicator.
And he's like, I guess. Yeah, is this what people eat? I guess.
Then you know.
People don't eat that, sir.
Would you enjoy this mealworm? I just happen to have extras in my pocket.
So that's the key. If the Men in Black ever come, just make sure you have a thawed dead mouse in your pocket.
or a cup full of mealworms.
Or crickets.
Yeah.
Would you boys like a cricket for your evening walk? Oh,
Right.
Yes, we would.
Right. Something's off.
Now, I think the Men in Black are very, very negative.
Yeah.
I think they're just there to scare. I think they know exactly what's going on. They're not there for that.
I agree.
I think they are just there to keep you.
From not knowing what's going on.
Yeah, they don't want you involved.
I have that saying. I agree on that.
And they're not scared to threaten you. they don't seem to really follow through very often with the threats, as far as we can tell.
Yeah.
They don't think they can. I think they can get you alone and torture you. Like we've seen, well, not with these stories, but other Men in Black stories with mental, kind of like mental torture.
Okay.
So when you were talking about telepathy earlier, we'll get into recorded next. When we talked about telepathy earlier, they do have some stories of telepathy, but it's a lot worse.
Yeah.
Introds almost seem to have to be invited to talk. With these guys, they can force their way in, but it's painful and it's traumatizing. So they can't do that with you while you're at your job because you're sitting there, screaming in pain.
Yeah, you go nuts or something.
And they're the ones sitting there like,
go find crickets. Go find crickets.
Where is the nearest pet store or bait shop?
How many times have you heard that in your head?
A lot.
Daily.
But I have animals that request that.
Oh, okay. They're...
But yeah, so they're definitely... I think you got the government guys. I think they dress up as government personnel because they know that's what we kind of...
associate.
At this time, we still respected authority and trusted the government.
Yeah.
For the most part. Vietnam's really what broke that.
Yeah.
It was. We were fully trusting the government in the 40s. We were mostly trusting the government into the 50s. The end of the 60s, and when the average American citizen started really questioning what the government was doing.
Yeah.
And it was because of the treatment of Vietnam.
Yeah.
Because it was a war we didn't understand why we were there, and it took way too long, and we never finished it when we could have.
And they got better as the years went on.
Yeah, we gave the opposition a big opportunity because it was their land. They should have kept it. But it was just... Anyways, that's not war hour. But I think that's why the Men in Black pick that persona, is because immediately it's something that we recognize as authority figures to be like, okay, the nice black suits, the badge.
Right.
Okay, these are with the government. I just got to tell them what they need and leave me alone.
Yeah, exactly.
And they do threaten, and it's weird how they threaten. The actual government Men in Black seem to threaten with bullets are cheap, kid. Like the actual death threat. Or I've heard the Men in Black, the alien ones, will it's always like a kind of way like if somebody threatened your mom's life, would you stop talking about aliens and UFOs or whatever, something like that.
Yeah.
I even heard one story of the Men in Black folding a note, writing something on a piece of paper, folding it and passing it to somebody, and they opened it up and it was the addresses of every member of their family.
Oh, wow, okay.
And
that's government then. That's government.
No, that was the lizard ones.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah. And it was because they're just like, we know everything about you.
Right.
We want you to stop talking about this, and we're not going to hurt you, but here's all the people we're going to hurt.
Now, maybe I should save this for the end. I'll just say, is there any chance that they could be working together? And like the ones we see as normal human might be lower on the totem pole as far as power goes?
See, I don't think they're working with us because I don't think they need to.
Yeah. Well, but they might need to in order to create the illusion that they're not the ones controlling you or ruling you.
I don't think so. I just don't think so. Because, for Mary's example, she'd be visited by the alien Men in Black or the not from here Men in Black first. And then a couple hours later, be visited by the government ones and asking about the alien guys.
Yeah.
Like they're following them and trying to figure out what they're doing, but they can't. They're always one step ahead.
And so is the government, always one step ahead. So now
of us, and that's why the normal guy would come and ask about the government, because he never knew there was the alien guys. He'd only ever see the government guys.
See, you're falling into their trap.
No,
they're like
you're falling into their trap.
They know they'll be like, if they question this, and then this one questions us, and then that one questions them, they'll lose the whole scent altogether. Now we're an afterthought.
But that's what I think the Men in Black are. You have the government guys. I don't think any of them are connected. I don't think the not from here's have to talk to the U.S. government because they don't need to. But the way that some of their abilities they claim, the time stopping, the freezing, the actually immobilizing people, they do their job fine.
Yeah, I guess. I think they would need us, though. I think
they don't need us. That is your human brain saying we're important.
Well, if they didn't need us, why wouldn't they just have taken over or doing whatever they want to do?
Well, they're doing what they want to do. They just don't need to take over us to get what they want.
So what do they want?
Oh, that's what we're getting to.
Okay. All right. So
Indrid Cold.
Indrid Cold.
The smiling man. The grinning man.
Which, yeah, I think that name was attributed after the fact for the most part. I don't think it was like a...
I think Darren Berger called him the smiling man.
I'd have to check again.
Yeah, you didn't bring your book, did you?
Mm-mm. No, I took that home. But there's a lot of weird stuff with him, and it's a lot of stuff I've read, and zero relation to him at all either. Just about, I call them aliens that have positive messages and talk to people here and like like telepathically people will channel them and stuff. And for the most part, it's pretty positive messages, like basically saying, you know, we're all one and the same. We're all the same. You got to think positive, good thoughts and stuff, and you can change. I don't know. It's just usually stuff like that to really generalize it, I guess I could say. And he fell into that category. I've also heard the same stories about having that negative effect where things are literally there to put fear within you or to scare you. And from his account and from Darren Berger's experience with him, it wasn't that at all. It was more of the positive.
But
Yes.
Indrid Cold ruined Darren Berger's life, ruined his kid's life.
Correct. He did. But if they...
So is that just a sideways way of doing it?
Could be. It could be. It could be, yeah. But it's that's really like going in, like that's, I don't know, what's the word? It's a really deep way to get in there and do that sort of thing. I mean, but
nothing but time, it seems.
But
like.
it works, yeah. But it would work, yeah. Absolutely. I wouldn't rule that out either. Could all be negative. But I guess his direct things weren't that negative, so...
That's why he went and told everybody about it, and now everybody's like, "Heh, look at you.
Yeah, weirdo. Like,
We're going to kick your kids."
basically, made his wife leave him and take his kids away. Mm-hmm. So I don't. Yeah, I guess.
And then why did the UFO always follow him around? That ruined his life when they were hiding.
True. Yeah, it did. Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. Mm-hmm. It's weird. But and at the same time, this is one man's account. Can't put all your eggs in one basket, I guess. Trying to be devil's advocate, seeing this for everything it could be.
And Indrid's daughter, Darren Berger's daughter, described Indrid more like the Men in Black than Darren Berger ever did.
Yeah, Darren Berger always had the description of just being like a handsome, normal, well-dressed dude.
Yeah, like almost a normal person, just a little off. She was like, no, he's a lizard in a suit.
Yeah.
That when he gets tired, the facade starts melting away.
And what if kids could see through the illusion easier than...
It might not even be just kids. I was thinking that he's focusing so much energy on Darren Berger to keep up this costume that when you're not the one he's focusing on...
You can see
you
it.
See it through it a little easier.
You see through the illusion. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I could see that, yeah.
And Indrid, maybe not a nice guy, but he needs this... He found a human... There was a lot more easy to talk to than most.
A good vessel to work through.
Because I've read some things about Darren Berger where he was a little more open than most people were.
Yeah.
So if Indrid is on a negative side, this is a guy he can use again and again and again to go into town. Because Indrid can't go into town.
Right.
Because he can't show 50 people and put up the facade.
Right.
Where, like, you see the Men in Black, they don't even try. They put on enough makeup. They put on physical disguises just to get into the door.
To get to your face and talk to you, yeah. Whereas in...
Indrid seems to be more of a
telepathic
disguise.
He came straight down on a ship right in front of his face. Like,
but he was chasing the other guy.
Yeah. I guess I don't want to say he was chasing because I don't know.
I think he was.
It appeared he was.
Because that guy was flying.
Yeah.
Because Darren Berger brought that up. The guy passed him going 100 miles an hour.
Flew by him and the ship followed behind that. And then
like, oh, there's another one. Just get him.
Yeah, get that guy. Much better.
I think it was a happy accident, and I think they took Darren Berger for a ride.
Well, supposedly they did.
I mean,
and we didn't really get into that.
Yeah,
took him on a ship to another planet.
Which I think was just screwing with him.
Could be, yeah. It's all an illusion.
There's a VR headset in the 60s.
Mm-hmm.
Whee! Mm-hmm.
Very well could be.
We're going to Lanios, and they're just hitting him with a bat.
And then...
Oh, we're hitting a meteor storm.
Yep. Yeah.
Hitting him with a bat.
Look, everyone's naked. Now you should get naked too. That happened.
And yeah. Oh my gosh.
Just saying, that did happen.
Yeah, I do.
So, Man, I wouldn't put it past VR back then. No way. No way. Not after experiencing it now. I know it's real. There's no doubt in my mind it could have been. They could have already had it back then. I didn't even consider that.
So what are you going with Indrid? What's your final thought on Indrid? Before we tie this all together, before we put a big old bow on this.
I don't think he was an alien from outer space. I'll say that.
Just a not from here?
I do believe he's a not from here. I do believe he was a being, like a biological being. It's just different than us. Different than
so
what
you think
we are.
if you
Who
had
we
shot
are.
him, he'd have died?
Yeah.
Okay.
If the bullet could hit him.
If you hit him, if you shot him, if you could actually shoot him, he would die.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so.
I think that would be the Men in Black too. I think if you could actually get through their whatever they are and shoot them, I think they'd die too.
It's almost like Bigfoot.
Yeah, I think if you shot a Bigfoot, if you could shoot a Bigfoot good enough, it'd die.
Good enough, exactly.
I've heard stories of people blast him in the face with them dropping dead because they weren't expecting it.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, I do think that, but it's hard to put your finger exactly on what he is or could be without knowing, having your finger exactly on what the world we live in is, or how everything, actually works around us, how the universe works, how our world works, how even like gravity works, or I don't know. Like without knowing all that stuff, it's hard to say like, oh, this is what he is. It could be, because I don't believe in half that stuff anyways. That's weird.
It's awesome. I don't know. I think Indrid was opposite of the Men in Black. I don't think he was good or negative.
Okay.
I think he had his own goals.
Yep.
I think the Men in Black had their own goals. I don't think they liked each other because we don't talk about Indrid's death very often.
Right. Yeah, we don't.
But it's attributed. Some of the groups attribute it to the Men in Black, whatever they are, because they were opposite forces for the same thing. Which they're not good or evil to us, but it's like when we would go to small indigenous countries.
Yep.
We don't really care what happens to the people.
Right.
We just want resources.
And then there's people that still want the resources, but they do care about what happens to the people. You know what I mean?
Sometimes.
I'm just saying there's
They
both
just,
sides of the
most
same
of the time
coin.
they just smile better.
There you go. Yeah. Like Indrid.
Like Indrid.
But, yeah, I don't know.
Sugar water instead of vinegar.
Yeah.
They get the same prize.
Oh,
And
man.
they take the core of your planet and leave.
Exactly, yeah.
Have fun.
I wouldn't mind talking to him, though. That would be cool.
I'm okay.
I would enjoy it.
Because he's dead.
Maybe his children.
I'm okay.
They're old enough. They're like,
You can go find the Men in Black.
they're probably his age now. No, I don't want to talk to them.
And then the Mirrored Men, the newest Men in Black.
Yeah, I don't want to talk to them.
We don't get to talk to them anymore. They don't talk to you anymore.
Oh, they just, no.
You lose like 8 hours of your time.
There we go. I wonder how much reality of the Men in Black movie is like portraying.
None.
None at all?
I don't think so.
You don't think?
I think they took the name and they just ran with it to be fun. Like they did with Harry and the Hendersons with Bigfoot.
But they got to show some reality while making it seem
I
like
don't
it's
think
fun.
they have to.
You don't think they're...
They took the name and that was the only reality. These are men and they're in black. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, that's what that saying means.
Right. But
No.
they do have memory or mind erasers.
Yeah, but I think that was actually came out. I'm trying to think when the first Mirrored Men with the time loss was. That may be out after the original Men in Black comics and stuff like that.
Okay. Oh, it was a comic? Mm-hmm. I didn't know that. But it could be a way to just redirect your focus on this thing, and then when people actually see the real Men in Black, it's like, that movie, that stuff ain't real, you know?
I don't know. I'm trying to think if... Because the Mirrored Men are, I think, the first ones that had the time loss.
Oh, okay. But they're
relatively newer.
That's one example, though. But you get what I'm trying to say, right? Mm-hmm. It could all be just a facade to steer you in just a different enough direction from reality, but at the same time still being based in a reality, but that you just can't even imagine it's real because it's just made up in the movies. You know what I mean?
In the movies.
In the movies. But yeah, that's that. That's how I feel on that. It's hard to describe.
Yeah. What were we talking about? The Men in Black?
Indrid, yeah.
Yeah, I don't think Indrid cared what happened to us. I think Darren Berger's proof, because it ruined Darren Berger's life, just kind of screwing with him.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the unfortunate part. You think he could have helped him fix it or
Just
something?
playing around.
Yeah.
I mean, that's all he was. He was just playing around with Darren Berger, and it literally ruined his life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we see that with a lot of these guys that have encounters with entities like Indrid Cold. Even if they're nice, it ruins their life.
Right. I guess, yeah, it probably wouldn't have if had they not talked about it, you know?
But Indrid encouraged it. Talk about it. Indrid wasn't one of the ones that said, "Oh, don't tell anybody about me."
True. He never said that I can recall. Interesting. What a cool way to, not cool, but like, what a really deep thinking way to get around, like, just to mess with someone, you know?
Well, they ain't got nothing but time.
Right. That's the
they're
long
waiting.
con.
I think they're waiting for something.
The long con. Yeah, but so Indrid, yeah, interdimensional being, I think.
Evil.
Possibly evil.
Not good. None of them are good.
Not human.
I'll tell you what. Look at human history. Any place that came with more advanced technology to visit you has never once been good.
Now you're making me like really think in my head. There's got to be one, right?
There's not. It's never, ever in the world history gone good for the natives.
No, never. That's true. That is very true.
And we're all the natives when it comes to this.
At least in modern history, yes, that's true. 100% true.
I think it lasts 2,000 years, 3,000 years, 10,000 years.
Well, we don't know 10,000 years.
Oh, we can find big body pits from the people that were there, and now they weren't after because they were like, this is really nice farmland you have.
Yeah.
We're going to be taking it now.
Well, there's those cases, but I'm sure there was parts where they traveled long distances and taught people how to grow things.
Not for free. It was never... It never benefited the indigenous people more. Because even the people that believe in those kind of things think that they used them for slaves after that.
Probably.
They were just teaching them how to grow their food.
And that could be us now. We could still be gold slave miners.
So what do you think about the omen of death?
Correlation.
Not causation?
Yeah, I feel like it is warning. It's warning.
I don't think he's doing it on purpose.
Okay.
Yeah, let's take this twofold. What do you actually think the Mothman himself is, or herself, or itself?
I think it was
There's a guy at work made a joke about that. Is the Mothman a boy or a girl?
Oh yeah.
I don't think it matters.
It's probably neither.
Yeah,
It's probably neither.
A different biosphere.
Yeah. It could just be a thing. Yeah. It could be asexual. But I do think it's an interdimensional being. I think it was pulled from somewhere else here. I don't think it came from space. I don't think it came from here.
Yeah.
Or
what do you think of its intelligence level?
Like as compared to us?
Yeah.
It's probably the best
sure.
way. I'd say less intelligent than us, but probably more intelligent in different ways, maybe.
So I think it's probably right on par with the person. Because it seemed it was scared most of the time. So I'm with you. It's interdimensional. He's not a willing visitor.
Yeah.
I think we're going to talk about here in the next shit why he's here. But I think it was an accident. He or them got brought here. I mean, there could be a handful of them. There's a couple of accounts of seeing 2 or 3 Mothman together.
It could also be a government experiment on person. That.
And that some people said it was because it was a radioactive crane from the park, the wildlife park, that mutated, or a radioactive bird.
Well, have you ever seen the movie The Fly?
Yeah,
So what if they're mixing DNA with humans and other creatures, and they're developing these superhumans? That's why everything's a secret. And then this is one of the byproducts of that. It's like whoa, like, and then he got out because he was like a superhuman. But it doesn't know what its function is. It's just alive now.
So, yeah. He's obviously not trying to hurt anybody.
Yeah.
Because he could have, like, how many sightings did we go over where it's like, well, he could have hurt us.
Oh,
he could have gotten in the house.
He could have murdered people and they would have never known.
He could have grabbed me then.
Yeah.
He could have pushed me off the catwalk. He could have came in the window. The window was open. He didn't.
Exactly.
It almost seemed like he was... Some stories seem curious. Some stories seem scared. A lot of them just seemed like he wanted help.
Yeah.
Because there's a handful, but it's like he was trying to talk to us. And that's why I think he's on par with our intelligence. He just lost. Then there's the cold Mothman story. He was just cold and lost. It's, a really cold part of the country. was having trouble finding food, I'm sure. I don't know if he's from a different plane of existence. They might not even eat organic stuff.
And they might even not even see as we see. They might see in different...
Infrared and stuff like that. Might be why his eyes are red.
Yeah. Could be completely...
He's having trouble understanding where he's at, what's happening.
Right.
I really think that's really what the Mothman is just an unwilling lost traveler.
Mm-hmm. Trying to find its way, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Just scared, and I think it died. I think it's probably dead in a ditch somewhere, laying in the gully in West Virginia because it got too cold. I think
dead in a ditch somewhere. That's my favorite.
I think Mothmen are one of the entities that get pulled through more often than not when we start doing these stuff that we're going to talk about next.
Oh, I think that's a great segue.
Mm-hmm. So what ties this all together? What could be causing, and this is rhetorical, what could be causing all of these events to co-occur at the same time in the same place in several different locations?
So just sit with that for a moment.
So yeah, like we said, Point Pleasant, West Virginia was the best example. Mothman was not the crown jewel. Mm-hmm. That's the one they grabbed onto. They had daily UFO sightings, poltergeist activity out the wazoo, men in black running around town, 3 different sets of men in black fighting each other basically,
and not
even cold hanging out.
And they weren't even necessarily looking for. Were they all asking questions about Mothman? They weren't, were they?
No, they didn't care about Mothman. It was all about the UFOs.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, nobody was really into the Mothman as far as the men in black were, is my understanding. I think they brought it up a couple times, but it wasn't one of the things. Like, they weren't threatening people's lives to stop talking about the Mothman. They don't care. That's the lost raccoon.
Yes, it was a symptom.
Yeah, there weren't the UFOs and the other stuff. Mm-hmm. So what I believe happened was under the TNT plant. Now, it did close and stuff, but we're going to talk about in the 40s, to the end of the 40s. There was an actual secret underground base underneath the TNT plant because there's already, like we said, over 3,000 personnel there.
Mm-hmm. It's a lot.
There's already a power plant that does not affect the local grid, so you can't find it. That's how they used to find underground bases and secret government bases and stuff like that.
When the grid's going nuts.
Well, you can tell it on the grid because you see a power sump. Mm-hmm. So you can see where it's this X square miles should only be using this much power, and it's using 20 times as much.
Yeah.
Okay, well, there's obviously either a factory or something else there.
Right.
And then that's how, they were worried, the Nazis had informants that were working at power grid stations.
Hide stuff.
That were finding these things to tell them.
Okay.
So they knew bombing locations that were hidden.
Ah, okay.
And that's really why I think most of World War II stuff was actually hidden, was because the Nazis had people over here. Everywhere. It wasn't to hide it from the U.S. citizens yet. I think that's a little later.
Yeah.
I think really at this time it was the Nazis because the Nazis were so good about getting their claws into everything and finding out all the information. But that's why it was so easy to prosecute them, because they kept amazing records.
Nazis?
Yes. So when we have their crimes, here, you actually documented it all for us. Thank you.
And then we hire them.
Some of them.
Right.
We killed most of them.
Did we?
Yeah. There was a bunch of them. They weren't high enough. We have enough doctors. Now brain surgeons.
We gotcha.
Mm-hmm. Pediatric doctors.
Not so much.
Go in that line.
Rocket scientists. Come on over.
But so you have the military. They already have the military presence. You have 3,000 personnel already on base. So you're not seeing a giant spike in military activity because it's already there.
It's already there.
So nobody's looking. Nobody cares seeing military trucks hauling weird stuff in and out.
Nothing different.
Because it's there. Mm-hmm. You're seeing it every day. So the military, the power grid, and then the security. This is an explosives and ordnance factory producing facility. It was armed out the wazoo.
I bet.
So it was already protected. You have a giant water source, the Ohio River. Because a lot of these experiments use water cooling, especially in this time. We used water cooling for some of these experiments we're going to talk about. So you need access to clean water. So you don't clog up the machine you're using to cool.
Right.
You're a giant radiator. So I think, and we talked about this because we made kind of a joke about it, they were doing Stranger Things-esque experiments. I think when we first set off the nuclear bomb, or were playing with them in the deserts, we put up a signal flare, basically. Whether you want to go intergalactic, interdimensional, the atomic bomb explosion was the signal for all these other entities across the plains to be like, oh, there's life on that rock. Because it doesn't occur naturally.
Right.
So if you're looking at a big cosmic radiant of a graph, you're trying to find where life is.
You get a blip on the radar.
With an atomic blast, you're like, yep, intelligent life right there. Yeah, so interdimensional or whatever you want to say. So I think they were doing really like Stranger Things-esque experiments underneath this TNT ordnance. Mm-hmm. I don't think it lasted very long because, like I said, the TNT ordnance, I believe, closed in 49 or 50.
Yeah.
Which would happen in 47.
World War II, right? Ended?
No, 47. That's 45.
Oh, Operation High Jump?
No.
What?
I think that was 46.
Okay. Closer.
Roswell.
Oh, yeah, the aliens in Roswell. Mm-hmm.
And I think we opened the door, or we were doing these experiments. So when we started launching these smaller nuclear devices out west, we were figuring out that there's exotic particles that happens with this. We are kind of starting to maybe even tear at the interdimensional wall. Mm-hmm. So when we started doing this, I think we picked areas. I think, Wright Pat's one.
Yeah.
I think before Wright Pat, it was a TNT ordnance plant because it was such a good cover. Basically, the shell on top, nobody notices anything different.
Right.
Because there's nothing different. Just you have thousands of military personnel. If you add a couple hundred more, it doesn't matter. You're dragging in big pieces of equipment, it doesn't matter. You are literally, everybody in your area knows you are making explosives for the war effort.
Right.
Nobody's bugging this place.
Right.
This isn't Area 51, that they're like, oh, there's aliens in there. No, we know it's in there. There's bombs. Mm-hmm. And we don't want to walk around out there.
Right, yeah. Don't want to get close.
I mean, they would hear explosions on accident all the time. Because TNT is very
volatile
during the production process until it's sealed in the sticks. It's very volatile. So you drop a stick and it'd blow up half a building.
What a bad day on the job.
You're like, oh crap. Yeah. It's like dropping your phone, but then you wake up in heaven.
Yeah.
But you look at God, you're like, did I drop a stick?
Yeah,
you did.
Dang it.
Oh well.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't got to worry about clocking in tomorrow.
No.
So I think you have this very Stranger Things like underground base. I think they maybe even playing with interdimensional stuff.
Yeah.
I think they stopped in 49. I really did. I think they pulled away because they realized they were starting to rip this hole, and they weren't sure about it. If you watch, like we talked about the movie The Mist, they thought they were building an interdimensional window to look into another place. They weren't. They actually made a door, but the other side opened it.
Yeah.
And that's the scary thing is like, we invited them here.
Exactly, yeah.
And we didn't even know it. Whether they can get through that scar or maybe we made an actual, if you want to look at it like we made a tiny hole.
Yeah.
So only a couple of them can get in at a time. And they want it to open more.
I mean, it very much is like Stranger Things.
Mm-hmm. Don't ruin the new season. I haven't seen it yet.
No, even before that, when they're shooting that little laser beam just to open the door.
Because people were talking about those experiments, interdimensional doors.
Yeah. I
think they were doing that at Point Pleasant. I think the scar was still active in the 60s. Mm-hmm. And very scary-like. They couldn't, it wasn't fully opened. That's why the UFOs were weird-looking. That's why the Men in Black were always here in small numbers. That's why Andrew Cold was here with a small crew. They couldn't get everybody through.
Right, just one.
And I think that's what they're all kind of bidding for and fighting over. And then the Mothman is the accidental pull-through.
Yep. He's
living in a different dimension, and the other ones that are more primitive species that gets just pulled through.
He's a byproduct.
Yeah, byproduct. Yeah, they don't want to be here. Mm-hmm. All the stories I've read about Mothman doesn't seem mean or spiteful or scary. He seems scared. He seems cold. He seems hungry. He seems fearful. He does not want to be here. There's like a handful of stories where it almost seems like he's asking for help. He's hiding beside your house to be warm.
Ooh. What if he's an unwilling tool of these creatures?
He could be. I just think he's an accident because they don't seem to care about him.
Right, exactly.
So when he's here, he's not being controlled. They're always hiding out in these abandoned places. Like the owl band hang out in an abandoned church because he's getting left alone. It was out of the elements. Mm-hmm. Somewhere he could fly into and get out. The Mothman picked the birdhouse, the power plant, the old power plant. I don't think it's because it was special. I think because it was a building
nobody
that he could
go
hide in.
Yeah, no one would bother him.
And like they talked about, all the glass broke. Mm-hmm. He could get in there and he could hear anybody coming.
Yeah, true.
And I think all these guys are trying to figure out, they want our government to do it again. They want to figure out so they can get control of the door. Mm-hmm. Whether I think Indrid Cold is different than the Men in Black. I think they're both interdimensional. I think they both want the same thing. They both want control of the door.
Yeah.
To open it up and let everybody else come through.
Interesting. Into this. So what makes this place so special then?
Resources.
Just that's it?
Think about it. Every boat that's came across the sea ever has had one thing in mind.
Yeah, right.
So this is just a bigger sea with a new land of a more primitive species than you that has resources that you can take.
Interesting. But yeah, like what?
Well, that's
gold.
That's unimportant. It really doesn't matter.
True.
It could be organic life. They could have a lack of that. If you believe Indrid Cold, his planet was basically a barren waste besides the farming area. They only had 3 species of animal, what he considered animal.
Interesting. Oh yeah. Okay. It's a lot to think about. Because like, what if Stranger Things stuff is like
leaked,
or telling you, informing you what's going on, but at the same time presenting it in such a way that makes it just seem so fantasy and so not real that you can't even imagine that, it actually, stuff like this is real. You know what I mean?
So
it's hard to wrap your mind around.
But why is the Mothman in Chicago? Why was he at Chernobyl?
What if they're opening new?
I think
gates?
Chernobyl, I think they need these radioactive sources. I think I think nuclear power plants can kind of accidentally open little holes.
Okay.
Just by accident, just little byproduct holes. Constantly running a nuclear reactor. I think that's when the Mothman comes out around these big power plants in the Great Lakes and stuff. Because how many nuclear reactors are around the Great Lakes? A lot.
True. There's one big one.
And I think they're kind of Betsy. They get pushed out. And they're the ones that are on accident. They're not trying to get here. Just the wind go bloop, and then they wake up here.
Unless they could be just scouts sent out and then into here, and they're the only things that can get through the first time. And what they see through their eyes, whoever sent them can see and read that. And now the thing's here, Mothman is here doing his duties, scouting out stuff, but then realizes, wait, I'm here and they're not. I just want to be here. Someone help me. Trying to get help from everyone.
I just think he's an accident. And then the Chicago Mothman, it seems like they're very well maybe a giant base under O'Hare. Like we know there is in Denver. I don't care what anybody says. We know there's one in Denver. That one lady is my only evidence I need. They got lost in it for 14 days and said lizard people are hunting her down.
Yeah, that's crazy.
The Men in Black.
Yeah.
Without their makeup.
Hey, just saying, who's really in control?
Well, I'm talking about in this time, we're talking the 60s and the 70s, they were in control of nothing. They were new to town.
So we think or no? I don't know.
But I think they really want us to keep opening these doors because that's the only way they can get through. That's why there's only small numbers of them right now. Indrid, I think, had a team of 4, and 2 of them were his kids. And then the Men in Black always seen in 2s or 3s.
Yeah. Indrid did, the Woodrow Derenberger that saw Indrid did see someone else in his ship, but all he seen was an arm.
It could have been his kid.
Yeah, it could have been. Or even his wife or something.
I know his son's traveled with him a lot.
Okay. Interesting, though. You don't know.
And I think it's just they want to claim the resources, whatever resources they need. Gold may be common on their place. They may not need that kind of stuff. Fish oil may be the most precious thing in the universe. We don't know.
True. I know what the most precious thing in the universe is.
Monoatomic gold?
No, even more. Human consciousness.
Yeah.
Why else it's the only thing that's here. It probably doesn't exist anywhere else that we know of in the universe, right?
Or you could say fish oil, too.
Maybe.
Fish don't exist anywhere else. I'd know.
You would know.
I'd have a feeling.
Yeah.
It could be salamander farts. It's all... everything to this biosphere is unique to this rock.
Salamander farts. This is like your dream world, ain't it?
Everything to this rock is unique to this rock when we talk about organics in the biosphere. Because it just would be. They're, different plants, even closer plants would have to have a lot of different stuff. It could just be amino acids. they've talked about the lizard people harvesting adrenochrome.
Yeah.
That's the type of amino acid. It could just be amino acids that various different forms of life produce. Why are they always in the ocean? Squid oil.
True. Who knows? You don't know what they're here for. We know that they're here, right? Is it safe to say that?
Yeah, they're here.
Yeah.
I think they. I don't know. I think they really just want the door opened.
Not from here.
I think they want. I don't think they want. So I think they're very carefully trying to control the door. I don't think any one group of them owns ownership of the government or anything like that. I think they're working with. If you want to go that route, I think they're working with factions
Within.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could believe that.
That's all your underground bases and stuff like that. Because that's the easiest place to hide stuff is underground.
Right, yeah. You can't really detect anything unless you have technology too. Other than that, unless you feel like a rumble in the ground, you're not going to suspect, oh, that's probably just an underground base over there doing highly like explosive experiments or something.
Ripping a hole in the fabric of space and
Yeah,
time.
yeah. That's probably the last thing that would go through my
Mothmans are
mind.
pouring out by the bucketful.
But right, yeah. But if I see a giant power plant or like just a giant building and it's constantly things are happening, then I would get a bit suspicious.
Yeah, so airports. Think about airports now. How much security do airports have? And then the Chicago airport, the O'Hare, has signal
jamming.
Signal jamming radar. You cannot take a phone or a GPS, and it even screws with your camera. So if you happen to see a Mothman or a lizard person out and about,
Can't even get a picture of
you
it.
can, but it looks bad.
Like all the other cryptid photos. It's always blurry.
Vibrations. Bigfoot's actually blurry.
It's true. I believe that. Mitch Hedberg was right.
Oh yeah, that was his joke, isn't it?
Yeah. The problem, yeah, we'll get in that another time.
So what do you think? Anything different?
A little bit, maybe. So I'm going to have to paint you a picture, though, to make this work.
Paint me a picture, Picasso.
So space and time and all, space, let's just go with space ain't real. The only thing that exists is this, what we experience.
Isn't this space?
It's a space, it's a realm. It's space as in outer space and all planets and all that infinite foreverness. I don't believe it. Let's just imagine it's not real. We do live on this one realm where we live on. And you can go consciously, you could, when you pass or whatever, you could ascend upward in the realm. That's nicer and full of more things that are within your thoughts or you can go downward within your realm and, your actions kind of determine your path. But if there's other beings from other realms that are beneath us, and I'll just call them different dimensions of living, they all exist here still, but it's just like a lesser, more scary, more traumatizing, a darker version the further down you go. But it's still here on this rock that we'll call Earth. Does that make sense? And then as you go upward, it's the same thing. It still exists here. Like we could be living in heaven right now, but it's just a different dimension of it. It's the one we live in. Does that make sense? And then I think this might be like the in-between, the lower and the upper divisions or dimensions. And maybe these beings could be from lower dimensions, and we can just quote, it could be like a hell kind of dimension. We'll just call it that, just so you get it in your mind. And the only way they can be free from that, because they are inherently, I'd say, evil or negative, they want to experience this. They want to live here. And the only way they can live here is still by being negative and feeding off negativity, which is produced by us, our consciousness. I think that produces positivity and negativity. So they can be opening these doors and want them to keep them open so they can get enough in here to control this realm and make it negative enough for them to exist. And then there's people like Indrid, who could be from a higher one that come down spreading positivity, but also trying to figure out, okay, what's else? Who's down here influencing the human beings to create, dimensional shift machines that can open up time and space and allow these things to come through. And then things like Mothman are just a byproduct, like you said. They're just slipping through. They're coming out. They could be a common thing wherever they're from, like birds just flying around.
Like blackbirds.
And then the door opens and they're in. Or they could be like on Howard the Duck. You ever seen that movie?
I've seen it. No.
It's a bit of a throwback. Everyone always hates on it, but I like Howard the Duck. But Steven Spielberg directed
Isn't he
it.
an alien?
Yeah, he's from a duck planet, and he gets tracked. Basically, he gets sucked through a dimension to Earth, and because scientists on Earth were doing experiments trying to open up portals, and then they end up pulling him through, and they end up pulling like a dark overlord through, and the dark overlord takes over a human body and then directs it directly at his planet and tries to bring the rest of them here through that portal gun, and then Howard's there to stop him. That's what the movie's about. Pretty good. I mean, it gets hated on a lot because I don't know why. Don't get it. But what I'm saying is it was a negative entity that was pulled through, and it tried to open up the portal to pull in more and more negative entities so they could run and rule this realm. Now, so it's kind of similar to what you're saying, but maybe I think the resource they're after is us and our thoughts and our emotions and our consciousness. Like maybe they just live off, maybe that's what keeps them alive or functioning or feeding, and then we provide that because we're special, high conscious beings, I'd say. I don't think you can get that out of a tree, or even a raccoon, but a human being is probably pretty powerful. Like you said, with now I'm blanking on the word, poltergeist activity. Your mind might have the ability to do that stuff and you don't even realize it's that strong. But it could be something like that they're tapping into, stealing from you.
Well, you heard it here first, folks.
Yep. You heard definitely heard it here first.
I don't know where to go from that.
Is your mind blown a little bit? It makes you think, though, right?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, I don't know. I have my thought, you have your thought.
We won't know.
We're both wrong.
Exactly. We know nothing. At the end of the day, till we're in a hole in the ground, we know nothing.
Okay, ending thoughts.
Yes.
Mothman good. Everybody else to the whole bad.
Agreed.
Don't trust anybody not from here.
True.
Give the Mothman a mouse.
Please.
He needs one.
He needs...
It's rough over here.
And a blanket.
And a blanket. Give him a blanket. Give him a cocoa.
Oh my gosh. Give him a cocoa and a blanket. You'll be fine. Promise.
Anything else to add?
I think we really...
I think we
thoroughly covered this.
I think we did. It's going to be like 7.5, 8 hours.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully you guys enjoy this. Hopefully this was fun.
If you listen to all this, congratulations.
Yep. And hopefully your minds at the end of this are a bit more open to everything in this world, I guess. I don't know.
Well, thank you guys once again for all the amazing support we've had. This is the ending of season 1. Woo!
Yep. We did it.
We did it. 3 or 4 iterations of the studio.
Yeah.
$2,000 in podcasting equipment. I still remember recording on that one little box with the.
I know.
It's $100 set
in Nick's house.
Yeah.
And
now these mics are worth double that set.
Only because you guys motivated us to keep on going.
Yeah, it's awesome. If you want more content, Patreon's the way to do it. There's a link in the description. If not, go to the Facebook page and just support us there. Have fun with us.
And smash that like button.
Smash the like button. Leave a comment, like and review, pretty please.
Yeah, I don't know.
Whatever podcasters say at the end of these things.
If they even, yeah, exactly.
All right. Emily's not here, but she wants to express thank you too. But I have been Mr. E.
I've still been Season 1 J.
And together, we are Cryptids the Corn Podcast, bringing you everything paranormal and cryptozoological from the Midwest and Appalachia, and often venturing out past that range. Thank you. And...
You've been listening to Cryptids of the Corn. Be sure to join us in the next episode where we tantalize your intellect and expand the horizons of your mind. If you're enjoying the show, please feel free to rate, subscribe, and leave a review wherever you listen to your podcasts. That helps others find the show, and we really appreciate it. Thanks again for tuning in, and we'll catch you in the next episode. Until then, stay magical.
Membership fees apply after free trial. Cancel anytime.
Can I be real for a second? That goal you have to exercise and eat better, you really can do it. But nobody is going to do it for you. And nobody has to, because you can do it if you have the right tools and a community that cares about helping you get results. And that's us, Beachbody. It's as convenient as your TV or laptop, but you need to decide that you're worth it. Let us help you succeed. Here's how. Go to beachbody.com to claim your free membership and start feeling great.
Progressive presents Adjusting to the Suburbs.
I never thought I'd care about gardening until I bought a house in the suburbs. But now I find myself in conversations about liquid fertilizer, and I wonder, am I the fertilizer guy now? No way. Everyone knows the ratio between phosphorus and nitrogen, right? Yeah, I'm still totally cool.
Anyway, when you save with Progressive by bundling your home and auto, that's the easy part of adjusting to the suburbs. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company coverage provided in service by affiliates and third-party insurers.